It's time for your AEW All Out review.
All right, gentlemen, let's review.
With a monster who tells it like it is.
The Solomonster.
Tonight is going to go down as a show that we are going to look back on, I think, years from now. 2, 3 years, 5 years from now. We're going to look back on this pay-per-view here tonight, I think, as one of the most important shows in AEW history. Not because of any one person who appeared on this show. It's not because of what we saw at the very end. It's not because of just CM Punk. It's not any one individual. It is because collectively, all of these names, all of these signings, all of these new faces that we see in the company, and probably more to come, it's all about what they represent. It feels like this is a turning point for this company in a lot of ways. And what we saw tonight, and AEW has had a tremendous amount of momentum on their side now for many weeks, going back to when the rumors all began to circulate in July. People were buzzing about AEW. They were buzzing about CM Punk. They were buzzing about Daniel Bryan. Is he going to come in? Is he going to be all elite? And they got a lot of people talking about AEW. And it all culminated in what we saw on this pay-per-view here tonight. This felt like a momentum shift that we have not seen in wrestling in a very long time. And I have to tell you, to be a wrestling fan at this moment, not just with everything happening in AEW, look what we saw last night. Jon Moxley going to GCW and becoming the heavyweight champion. We see all kinds of companies working together. We see talent crossing over from one company to another. This is a fun time to be a fan. And you should all take a moment to enjoy it because you never know how long it's going to last. Tonight, as far as this show is concerned, AEW had put together a loaded card. We'll forget about Big Show and QT Marshall. They put together a loaded card tonight, and that is without the Pac and Andrade match that got bumped. We're going to see that on Rampage this coming Friday night. But with rumors running rampant and probably more eyes than ever before, I'm guessing, watching an AEW pay-per-view here tonight, they needed to deliver big. And deliver big they did. I can sit here and tell you that honestly, this was one of the best wrestling pay-per-views that I can remember watching. I have not had this much fun watching a pay-per-view in a very long time. I don't know where this ranks all time. In terms of all the AEW pay-per-views, I think this is the best show that they have ever produced, top to bottom. And you could tell the crowd was burned out by the very end. They were very quiet, quieter than I expected them to be in the main event. I think by that point, after watching QT Marshall, they were they were ready to wrap things up and get to the very end. And it was not a perfect show, but I don't know that I have seen a better AEW pay-per-view than the show they put on tonight in Chicago. You could not have come up with a better mix of the right crowd with the right people at the right time. Everything just felt like it came together. And if you're Tony Khan and you are the talent in AEW, you have to be feeling pretty good about AEW All Out 2021. Bryan Danielson is all elite. You can see him there on your screen. But so is Adam Cole. And I have been so worried and I have been so concerned about Adam Cole because I am a fan of his work and I want to see him do well. I want to see him excel. There was no way that was ever going to happen on Monday Night Raw. Even on SmackDown, I was skeptical that he would ever have a real shot at realizing his full potential on either of those shows. 4 years of his career he spent in NXT. And for the entirety of his time down there in Orlando, he was pushed at the very top. Triple H pushed him because he knew what he had in Adam Cole. And I don't believe Vince McMahon saw in Adam Cole what Triple H did. I was hoping he would take his ball and walk. And tonight we got our answer. Adam Cole is all elite. In fact, he's back with the elite. And that's going to be a whole thing because the elite, I could have sworn the elite murdered him many years ago. But we'll get to that. This is your All Out 2021 review here on the Solomonster Sounds Off channel. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and choosing me for your All Out coverage here tonight. I know we might have some new viewers, So I want to welcome all of you. Please do me one favor here before we get into it. We're going to run down the entire show. I want you to hit that like button because when you do that, it helps the channel out more than you know. So we got a lot of people in here. Smash that like button. The mods will be reminding you all night long. Super chats are open. You'll see them popping. There's another one. You'll see them popping up on the screen. I'm going to read each and every single one of the messages that you guys send to me. I don't care how late we go. We're going to be up late tonight. We're going to have a super chat party. I'm going to read all your messages. I want to hear from you. How do you grade tonight's pay-per-view? And what was the match that stood out to you the most? What was your favorite part of the show? Give me some feedback. I want to hear from you guys. And shout out to all of our new channel members. I see we've picked up a few already. Some new channel members tonight, including some existing members who upgraded from superstar tier to legend. So I thank you. So let's get into it because it is after midnight here on the East Coast. So we got no time to spare, although I do want to just say Tetsuya Ito, one of my favorite names I see just became a Sound Off Super. Tetsuya Ito. E-Y-E To. You guys are very clever. But thank you for becoming a member. The buy-in pre-show match was a 10-man tag. Oh, I'm going to get to the cage match. I see everybody talking about the tag team title match. I know I haven't mentioned that yet. I'm saving it. I'm building to it. Trust me, I'm going to have a lot to say about the Young Bucks and the Lucha Bros. Just be patient. The buy-in pre-show match was a 10-man tag with the Hardy family office. We had Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2 taking on Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Wheeler Yuta. Man, I got to tell you, I've had a smile on my face this entire time. There's so many things to get into here, including the stuff with Moxley and, well, we'll get to that in a second. But there was a comedy spot in the 10-man tag on the pre-show where about 7 or 8 different people applied submissions all at once. It was like a comedy spot. Luchasaurus, he climbed into the ring. He ran wild and basically knocked everybody down. And Wheeler Yuta hit a top rope splash on Angelico. Anyway, we get to what I thought was the cool part here of this match. We had Jack Evans up on Angelico's shoulders. We had Jungle Boy up on the dinosaur's shoulders, up on Luchasaurus' shoulders. And they're exchanging blows before Jungle Boy clotheslined him off, gave him his own little doomsday device. Isaiah Cassidy dove off the rope. Jungle Boy, while still on the dinosaur's shoulders, caught him and then flipped over, I guess sort of a power slam, and took him down to the mat. I thought that was very cool. The Blade showed up. He got knocked to the floor. Marco Stunt did a dive out onto the Blade. Jungle Boy caught Angelico in his snare trap, submission for the win. And so the babyfaces picked up the W. Not really to my surprise. I had picked them to go over here in this match. After the match, Orange Cassidy was left all alone in the ring with Hardy and the Blade. And we had the return. Now, this is going to be overshadowed. I mean, clearly, this is the biggest return or, re-debut of all the big names we saw tonight. This is going to get lost in all the noise. The Butcher is back. The Butcher made his return on the buy-in, and he attacked Orange Cassidy. He has been gone since April. According to Fightful, he had a thumb injury. So he's been gone for about, 7 months now? So the Butcher is back. Heels all ganged up on OC. Jack Evans pulled out a pair of scissors. He was going to cut Orange Cassidy's hair. Jurassic Express ran back down. Dante Martin ran down. Varsity Blondes ran down. Dark Order. All to chase the heels away, and the babyfaces then all shared a group hug in the middle of the ring. So, crowd loved Orange Cassidy, but they loved Jungle Boy, and they loved Luchasaurus. So, crowd-pleasing match. And a match that never would have happened had Pac and Andrade gone on as planned because the Women's Battle Royal was originally slotted in for the buy-in. So they ended up being able to make an appearance after all. So then we got to the main card. Eddie Kingston challenging for the TNT Championship against Miro. Eddie Kingston has been one of the really cool stories, I think, about AEW over the past year. Eddie Kingston was, obviously a big name on the independent scene for a very long time, never signed with a major promotion. He was never on cable television or anything like that. And it didn't take very long for him to get over, and it's not hard to see why. Eddie Kingston might not be the best in-ring technician, but Eddie Kingston gets over with his mouth. He comes out, he's real. He's authentic. He's not playing a character. You can watch him and listen to him and you believe that it's real because it is. It's who he is. So he has this connection with the crowd. They were solidly behind him. They really wanted to see him walk away with that championship tonight. Kingston gave Miro a belly-to-belly overhead suplex very early on. Miro on the outside, though. Eddie comes off the apron for what I assume was going to be a cannonball senton. And Miro caught him, took him over with a power slam on the floor. And then he drove him back first into the ring post. So Miro goes on the offense, going after Eddie's hand. He's trying to limit his grip strength, according to Excalibur. Eddie fights out of it and hits a Saito suplex. And then he got into a strike exchange with Miro, Eddie with the hard chops. Miro's chest was all black and blue from all the chops. And Miro rolled out to the floor after Eddie hit 2 more Saito suplexes. He was throwing this guy around. I was impressed by what I saw in this match from Eddie Kingston. Miro rolls out to the floor. Eddie hit an elbow suicida. Back inside, perfect plex, only gets 2. Miro kicks out. There was a point in here with Kingston. He inadvertently pulled off the top turnbuckle pad. And that played into the finish of the match. Miro got the game over submission locked on. Eddie looked like he was finished, but he managed to grab the bottom rope. And so he forced a rope break. Got a big reaction, too. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Eddie hits the spinning back fist, and he hits a DDT. And the story they told coming into this match is that one of the Achilles heels of Miro is the DDT. You drop him on his head, you might actually have a chance at beating him. And it all built to this point in the match. The reason they even told that story was to build to this near fall, or I guess, the pin attempt. Bryce Remsburg, though, wasn't there. Bryce Remsburg was off in the corner, I guess, jacking off or something. Eddie has got this guy covered. The crowd is chanting, cover him. They're chanting 1, 2, 3. Bryce Remsburg comes over. He waited too long. Miro kicked out. And the fans were not happy with Bryce Remsburg. So Kingston tried to run Miro into the exposed buckle. Remsburg got in the way, wouldn't let him do it. And while the referee, now Remsburg can't see what's going on behind Miro. Miro lifts his leg and gives Eddie a low blow. And then he gives him a kick to the head, and he pins him 1, 2, 3. The fans did not like this finish, but it was designed that way. They wanted to put heat on Miro, which is exactly what they did, but they really badly wanted to see Eddie Kingston win the championship here in this match. But you know what? It's not the right time for that. It's not, I don't even want to say not the right opponent. Maybe Eddie wins it eventually, but it's not the right time. You don't take the title yet off of Miro. I will say, I think this was the best Eddie Kingston has looked in the ring since coming to AEW. You might like the match he had with John Moxley or some of the other matches. I think he had a TNT title match once with Cody. I think it was for the TNT title. I think. But he impressed me here. And I thought this was his best actual match. I mean, just the way he was throwing Miro. Miro's no small man. He's throwing him around with all these suplexes. No hardcore stuff, just straight wrestling and a good old-fashioned kick to the balls. Did in poor Eddie Kingston. But I thought it was a really good match. And I don't know how many of you noticed, but when the match was over, Miro's wife, Lana, or CJ, I guess her name is, she had a special message. I had to clip it here so I could show all of you. I mean, I think if I were Miro, I would frame this and put this on my wall. This was the message from Lana when Miro tweeted, "Ask and you shall receive. Your nuts have been redeemed." And his wife quote tweeted him and said, "I'll redeem yours when you get home." Miro is truly living his best life. So good on him. Got nothing else to add to that. John Moxley. He is the new Jesus. Oh, look at this. Damn it, Dan. Holy shit. just dropped $150. Well, his message disappeared. I'm going to read your message later. Holy shit. Salute to Damn It Dan. He just dropped the 150 spot here on the stream. Holy crap. Well, now I'm all amped up. Heading into Jon Moxley. He is the new GCW champion, by the way. He beat Matt Cardona. Big surprise at their show last night. Against Satoshi Kojima from New Japan Pro Wrestling, making his AEW debut. Kojima is a former IWGP heavyweight champion, so this is a guy who's got the credentials. He's not some, journeyman fly-by-night, mid-card. I mean, he's not main event, a main event talent for them anymore, but he's got the resume. Not the guy that I was hoping to see Jon Moxley in the ring with, but I was still expecting a good match, and a good match is what we got. Moxley came through the crowd. He was wearing a GCW hoodie, and we got loud GCW chants to start the match. Was it Brett Lauderdale? Is he the promoter for GCW? I will say this about their promotion. They know how to get people talking about them. And in that way, it is very reminiscent. I'm not even talking the hardcore stuff. Just the way they're able to get the conversation on them is very reminiscent of the original ECW. So they just keep doing what they're doing, and if they can get a little bit of crossover, maybe on AEW television, they got it made. Moxley's going to be wrestling Nick Gage for the title next month in Atlantic City. So Kojima went for a handshake. Moxley flipped him off. He wasn't interested in shaking his hand. They traded chops. Kojima knocked down Moxley with the shoulder tackle, and he made his pecs dance like he was Hulk Hogan in 1985. He was busy. He was bouncing up and down here. One nipple's going this way, the other nipple's going that way. He went for a lariat. Moxley rolled to the floor to avoid it, so Kojima hit a plancha. 50 years old. This guy's still doing planchas out over the top rope. Kojima blocked a brainbuster attempt. He perched Moxley up on the top rope. They were biting each other's face. Kojima hit a superplex, followed by an apron DDT. Later on, Kojima countered the paradigm shift. He hit a brainbuster. He was calling for the lariat, and Moxley reversed it into a German suplex. Kojima turned the paradigm shift into a lariat, and the cozy cutter for the double down, so both men are down. Moxley's elbow, I didn't see how it happened, but Moxley's elbow was all bloodied up. And they did mention on commentary that last year, he actually had to miss a pay-per-view. I'm trying to remember if it was the All Out. It might have been the first All Out show, actually, a couple of years ago. But he had a staph infection once in the elbow. So I didn't see how it happened, but he had blood all up and down his arm. He locked on the Bulldog choke until Kojima got to the ropes. Hey, Johnny Ortega, he just subscribed. Every time you see Dancing Nakamura on the screen, we have a new subscriber, so shout out to Johnny. But he locked on the Bulldog choke. Kojima got to the ropes, and Kojima ended up hitting a bunch of Mongolian chops. Moxley hit a headbutt, and the paradigm shift followed by an elevated paradigm shift for the win. I thought it was slow in spots, but it felt like a battle with these guys in there. Felt like a battle. The finish was never in doubt. Did anybody believe that Jon Moxley wasn't going to win this match? So when you have a match where it's so obvious what the outcome is going to be, it does take some of the drama away. So Kojima isn't the biggest New Japan name for Moxley to challenge. He will challenge other people, and if you've listened to the whoa. Oh, the good professor I see has showed up tonight. Professor John Gotti, dropping $200. He's sticking it to Dan. Thank you, Professor. I'm all flustered now. What I was going to say is, I have been floating a bunch of different names from New Japan who I would like to see Jon Moxley step into the ring with. And one of the names I've mentioned is Minoru Suzuki, because I was a big fan of the match that they had a few years ago in New Japan. And this match is over, and all of a sudden, we hear a familiar piece of music. Now, at first, before I knew what it was, I thought Nick Gage was coming out, because they had just did the title change at the GCW show, and again, they're going to be wrestling next month, and I thought, okay, they're bringing back Nick Gage, who was already on AEW television once before. So I thought he was coming out to go face-to-face with Moxley. And boy, was I wrong, and I was glad to be wrong. We heard Kaza Ninare over the loudspeaker, and out to a tremendous ovation comes Minoru fucking Suzuki. Murder Grandpa has arrived in AEW. I had such a smile on my... because this right here, everyone was talking about Cole and Danielson and Ruby, and you know, you hear about these names over and over, and you know, you want to see them, but it's not really a surprise. This was a surprise. This was something I did not see coming. And here comes Minoru Suzuki, and he got a great ovation. It's like what I've said before. There are people who say, you know, you don't want to really bring in all these New Japan guys because a lot of the AEW people, they don't really know who they are. And in some cases, that might be true. When it comes to a name like Suzuki, I guarantee you the majority of the AEW audience, they know exactly who he is. And if they don't, he's somebody who I think, even if you've never seen this guy before, you just look at him and he looks dangerous. He just looks like he's cut from a different cloth. So he got a tremendous ovation when he walked out. Suzuki walked down to the ring, faced off with Moxley. He took off his jacket. I didn't think we were going to get any physicality tonight, but they went right at it. And Suzuki throws a forearm. Moxley comes back with one of his own. They're trading forearms until Suzuki hit a boot. Suzuki looked even more dangerous because I said Moxley had the wound on his elbow. So when he threw one of his elbow shots, he got blood all over Suzuki, like on his neck and stuff. Suzuki somehow looked even more dangerous than he normally does, with blood smeared all over his body. So Suzuki shrugged off a lariat. He locked on the rear naked choke, and that allowed him to hit the Gotch-style pile driver. He doesn't get to hit that very often, but he hit the Gotch, and he left Jon Moxley laying. He put his boot on top of him. I fucking love this. This was great. This was one of my favorite parts of the entire show. And AEW is going to be in Cincinnati on Wednesday for Dynamite. It's a big homecoming for Jon Moxley, who is from Cincinnati, and they have made it official. On Wednesday, it will be Jon Moxley, one-on-one, on TNT, live against Minoru Suzuki, making his Dynamite debut. I cannot wait. That is a show that I am going to very much look forward to covering on Wednesday. And if you are on the AEW roster, you might want to watch your ass with Minoru Suzuki around. You know, I thought, I didn't expect him on this show, but I thought maybe they would do something soon with him and Moxley, just because the brackets for the G1 came out last night. And Suzuki is not in the G1. So he can stick around for a while. There's no need for him to rush back to Japan. You know, Tanahashi, he's in the G1, so yeah, that's probably part of the reason why they couldn't do the match yet with him and Moxley. But very, very cool and very unexpected to see him pop up. We had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defending her AEW Women's Championship against Kris Statlander. Statlander had Orange Cassidy in her corner to counteract Rebel and Jamie Hayter. Baker called for the DMD. She was doing the whole DMD pantomime. Statlander made her bop herself on the nose, so we got some comedy here. Statlander climbed the ropes. Britt turned it into a draping neck breaker, and she sent Statlander to the floor, gave her some stomps. Back in the ring, Baker was still on the attack. Statlander sent her into the corner and hit a running knee. Britt came back with a sling blade, and Statlander avoided the curb stomp, and she hit an inside hook Falcon Arrow for 2, and Britt came back with a spiked DDT for a near fall. So these women were really, you know, they worked very well together, and they're really kind of firing on all cylinders at this point. Yeah, a lot of these women's matches that we've seen in the past, you kind of find a lot of sloppiness. You didn't really see much of that here in this match. Statlander is very polished, and Britt Baker has improved tremendously from where she was 6 months ago, let alone a year ago. So you put these two in the ring together, and they were working very well up to this point. Rebel gave Baker the black glove, and she signaled for lockjaw, which is her submission. Britt countered the Big Bang Theory into a cradle for two, and she gave Statlander a flatliner into the turnbuckle. So they fight up top, and Statlander had to deadlift her. She had to deadlift Britt Baker overhead for a superplex. Statlander went back up top. She came off for the Area 51, or Area 451. Britt rolled out of the way, went for lockjaw. Statlander fought out, hit an electric chair facebuster, followed by a scissor kick for a near fall. So Britt rolled to the outside. And Statlander went for her pendulum moonsault off the ring apron. And she went for it. She didn't hit it, but she went for it, and she went splat right on the mat, right on the floor. So Britt launched herself off the steps and hit a curb stomp. And it looked like Kris Statlander was about to be counted out. And the normally mild-mannered Orange Cassidy walks over to Kris Statlander. He takes off his shades, and he starts screaming at her like a drill sergeant. He's turning red in the face. Get up. Get back in the ring. And she gets up, and she gets back into the ring just in time, and he puts the glasses back on, and he goes back to his corner. So we got to see a side of Orange Cassidy in this match that we're not used to seeing, which I liked. I think that was the most emotion I've seen him show in the 2 years he's been working for this company. It's all built up to this moment. So Britt went for lockjaw. Statlander tried to counter into the spider crab. Britt kicked her way out of it, laid in some stomps in the corner. And Britt Baker hits a Panama Sunrise out of the corner, which Excalibur called a Pittsburgh Destroyer, or the Pittsburgh Sunrise. He tried to label it for Pittsburgh. And at that point, I wrote in my notes, I said, they're not even trying to be subtle about this, not knowing what was coming later on in the show. I didn't think it would happen tonight. But they were not being subtle at all here. Britt hits a curb stomp, followed by another near fall. But it looked like Statlander got a shoulder up just purely on instinct. Her eyes were basically closed. She was all groggy. And Britt Baker finally applied lockjaw. Statlander was already out. Referee called for the bell. And so Britt Baker retains her AEW Women's Championship. I thought this was an excellent match. I thought that these two women killed it. I thought they had a great match. Britt Baker is really coming into her own in the ring. And Statlander is great. Her first loss of 2021. I thought she had a great showing here. Backstage, we had Andrade El Idolo with Chavo Guerrero. And Alex Marvez asked him if Pac's travel issues were his fault. And Andrade said it's not his fault. Chavo said Pac wasn't there because he's scared. So this Friday on Rampage, Andrade is going to take on Pac. Cannot wait for that match. Very much looking forward to that match. Speaking of matches to look forward to. By the way, before I forget, if you are just joining us, hit that like button. How many people we got right now? How many people we got? All right, we got over 3,100. So let's hit 1,000, then let's shoot for 1,500 after that. Hit that thumbs up. It helps the video. But this is the point that I was waiting to get to. We get to the AEW Tag Team Championship with the Young Bucks defending against the Lucha Bros, Penta and Rey Fenix in a steel cage. I don't even know where to begin with this, other than to say this was one of the greatest tag team matches that I've ever seen. And it is the greatest tag team match in AEW history. And I understand AEW hasn't been around for that long, but this, to me, bested even the Revolution match from early last year with Omega and Hangman against the Young Bucks, which I thought was the greatest tag team match. This usurped it. What these four guys were able to go out there and do, I've not seen anything like this before. Lucha Bros got a special live music entrance. I thought that kicked ass. I don't know who it was that was singing. I didn't get the name. I don't know if they gave the name. I don't know, but that was awesome. I thought their entrance was very, very cool. I'm not even going to attempt to recap this move for move. And there's no need for me to recap this. I'm not here doing a move for move recap for the entire match. but I shall do my best to go through the highlights here. There was a point in the match where Matt Jackson somehow procured a chain. I don't know where he got the chain from. Maybe it was in his crotch. Who knows? He had a chain in his hand. He started choking Rey Fenix with it. He went for a powerbomb into the cage. Fenix hurricanranaed his way out of it before Penta hit a sling blade and a backstabber for a near fall. So the Bucks came back. They hit an Indie Taker into a senton, which led to a double pin, but both Lucha Bros kicked out at 2. They set up the BTE trigger. Rey Fenix rolled out of the way and went for a springboard crossbody, and the Bucks caught it. Fenix fought out. Matt Jackson basically said, fuck this, and he low-blowed the Lucha Bros with kicks. More bang for your buck, only gets 2. And the Bucks were ripping at both of their masks. They almost got Fenix's... By the time the match was over, you could basically see Rey Fenix's face. I mean, his mask was all torn to shreds. Fenix got lawn darted, Rey Mysterio style, into the cage. Brandon Cutler, he's outside. He's got a bag. And Brandon Cutler... And this is a tall cage. You know, when they call this cage 20 feet, you know, like in WWE, they used to call the Hell in a Cell like 20 feet. It was actually 16. This looked to be every bit of 20 feet. It's a tall fucking cage. And so Brandon Cutler throws this bag over the cage, and it lands in the ring. Inside was a sneaker. Matt Jackson took out a sneaker. We've seen them use this before. On the bottom of the sneaker are thumbtacks. And they, at this point, they also showed a close-up of Penta's face. You could see through the mask. He was all bloody and just bleeding. I don't know if it was from the forehead or where he was bleeding from. He was already busted open. Before they even brought the thumbtack shoe into the match, Penta was busted open. So Matt went to hit Fenix with the thumbtack boot. Penta dove in front of him to protect his little brother. He took the bullet for him instead. And the Bucks then sent Penta face first into the boot. Bucks set up for the BTE trigger, but first they opted to super kick Fenix with the thumbtack boot, and they hit the BTE trigger on Penta, and I thought that was it. The way they set this up, I figured this is going to be a really, anticlimactic finish here, but it felt like, okay, this is it. And then Rey Fenix broke up the cover just in time, and the people exploded. And really, from this point on, the match, you could feel the match, it was good. It was a very good match up to this point. It would have been, I think, a very crap finish. When they did that near fall, and Fenix saved his brother, and the place came unglued, it felt like the match kicked into that next gear. You could feel just the pacing of the match and the tenor of the match. It just, like a switch got flipped. Fenix made a comeback with a Hurricane Rana and a corkscrew kick. He got a hold of the thumbtack boot. He hit both Bucks with the boot. Fenix then hit the Blackfire driver on Matt for another near fall. Lucha Bros went for their diving stomp combo, but the Bucks stopped it. And we had the older brothers for each respective team, delivering stereo package pile drivers to their opponent's younger brother on the apron. So with the younger brothers taken out, Matt looked at Penta, Penta looked at Matt, they got in the ring, and then they went at it. And Penta and Matt, they made their way to the top rope. Pentagon hit a top rope destroyer. We ended up having a 4-way chop exchange with all 4 men in the ring. There was a whole flurry of super kicks. This is where I kind of just stopped taking notes for about 60 seconds. I said, all right, let's just let this play out here, because otherwise there's no way I can keep up with everything these guys are doing. So Matt was the last one standing, but then the Lucha Bros kipped up, and they hit more super kicks. Everybody now is down. Lucha Bros hit the Fear Factor double stomp combo, but Matt Jackson broke up the fall at the very last second, and Fenix at this point scaled the cage. And this is what I knew this was coming. And this is kind of what I was a little worried about, because as big and tall as the cage was, and Rey Fenix is a fucking madman, what is he going to do? That's all I was wondering going into this match. What ridiculous, stupid risk is Rey Fenix going to take? In the end, he actually didn't do anything too crazy, but he did climb to the top of the cage, and what they were setting up for, Lucha Bros were going to go for their finish, with Phoenix delivering the double stomp from 20 feet up on top of the cage. And he probably would have broken both of his ankles had he done that. But Nick Jackson super kicked Penta before Phoenix could dive, and then Nick scaled the cage. And he was trying to get up there with Phoenix, but Phoenix kicked him down. And so now both Bucks, they're standing in the middle of the ring, and here comes Rey Fenix, and Rey Fenix dives off the top of the cage and he didn't just like fall off. He jumped higher. So he was probably 21 or 22 feet up in the air, down onto the Bucks. They catch him, he wipes him out. Probably the safest dive he's ever done, if we're being honest. I thought he'd do some kind of fucking corkscrew maneuver. Yeah, but he did just the big dive off the top of the cage, and it's a great shot that they got of that. Lucha Bros hit their assisted pile driver, and they got the 3, and the Lucha Bros, for the first time, are the AEW Tag Team Champions. Wow. I mean, what else is there to say? If you could sum it up in one word, the word I would use is wow. You know, Penta hugged his kids at ringside after he got blood all over him. So, yeah, after he hugs him, they're trying to tell him, dude, we need you up on stage, because they want them to hold the belts up. Meanwhile, he's looking for his kids. So finally, they pull him away, and you see the kids are on camera, and they have like blood smeared on their face and stuff. I'm like, that's going to be a screenshot that'll somebody will use to try to get them in trouble. I thought it was a great moment. Again, this was one of the all-time great tag team matches, and it unseats the Revolution match from last year, which was my favorite, and I thought that was the best that I had ever seen, tag team-wise, in AEW, and now we have a new winner. It's this match here. This was unbelievable. And all 4 men in this match deserve kudos for putting on the match that they put on tonight. It's going to be hard to top. I don't know how you top what we saw tonight in that match. So next up, we had to have a come down. After a match like that, I pity who has to go on after that. So the come down was the Women's Casino Battle Royal for a future shot at the AEW Women's Championship. If you've seen these Casino Battle Royals in the past, you know that the wrestlers in the match, they enter based on the suit of their cards. So whether it's spades and jacks and diamonds, whatever it may be, that's pretty much how it works. And they come out in groups of 5. Usually there's 21 men or women in the match. That was the case tonight. Hikaru Shida was out first, followed by Sky Blue, Emi Sakura, the Bunny, and Abaddon. Abaddon dumped Sky Blue first. Sky Blue is the one who got over big in front of the Chicago crowd the other night. And they took Julia Hart out of the match. And Tony Khan came out after Sky Blue had a match with Red Velvet. He said, come on up on stage. He goes, hey, Sky Blue, you want to be in the Battle Royal on Sunday? And, of course, she freaked out. So she was, I don't know if she's from Chicago or if she just wrestles a lot in Chicago, but the crowd was really behind her, and so she earned herself a spot in the match, and she was in there for all of 45 seconds, and there goes Sky Blue. We had Abaddon dumped by the Bunny. Anna Jay, Kiera Hogan, Kylan King, Diamante, and Nyla Rose were out next. Yeah, somebody mentioned Dan Lambert, who I did not mention. There was a segment on the show with Dan Lambert of American Top Team. He was up in the skybox with, who was with him? He had Junior Dos Santos. He had Andre Arlovsky. And I forgot, I didn't write down the name of the third person. And he had, of course, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky. And they did a promo. They talked about how great they are, and that was it. So I didn't mention it because there really wasn't much to say about it. But we had Anna Jay, Kiera Hogan, Kylan King, Diamante, and Nyla Rose were out next. Anna Jay made a beeline to the ring. She made a beeline right to the Bunny. Hogan was dumped out next, followed by Kylan King. Nyla eliminated Hikaru Shida in a very uneventful way. This woman was the AEW Women's Champion for like over a year. And after she lost the title, we haven't seen her on television, it feels like in months. So now she's back. She's in the Battle Royal. And you talk about being dumped out of this match unceremoniously. Shida went out a lot quicker than she should have. And the people didn't seem very happy about that. Out next, we had Thunder Rosa. Oh, thank you. Jorge Masvidal. There you go. It just slipped my mind. Jorge Masvidal was the BMF champ. That's correct. Yes, he was the other one. But out next we had Thunder Rosa, Penelope Ford, Riho. God, you talk about premature eliminations. Jamie, let me rephrase that. See, that's the classy way of saying it. A premature elimination. That's not what I mean. Jamie Hayter and Big Swole. I looked away for a second, and Riho was gone. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? They made such a big deal on social media and everything about, oh, Riho's back. Because she's been gone for a while, too. And they said, well, Riho's going to be in the Battle Royal. Well, Riho was in the Battle Royal, and if you blinked, you missed it. I don't know if it was a botch. I have a feeling it might have been a botched elimination. I just don't think there's any way she was meant to be eliminated that quickly. I didn't even see who did it. It might have been Jamie Hayter, but I didn't even catch who did it. Big Swole headbutted Diamante out of the ring, but then Swole got dumped out. And the final group was Ty Conti, who went right after the bunny. Red Velvet, who went for Jamie Hayter. We had legit Layla Hirsch, who had an awesome match at the NWA All Women's Pay-Per-View with Camille for the NWA Women's title. So Layla Hirsch was out there, and we had Jade Cargill. And by the way, Layla Hirsch, as soon as she got in the ring, she hit a release German suplex on Nyla Rose. This woman is the real deal. She's like 4'5", and she's throwing Nyla Rose around. Jade Cargill and Rebel. Red Velvet made short work of her, of Rebel. Anna Jay eliminated the bunny. Penelope Ford with the pump kick knocked Anna Jay off the apron into the floor. Jade Cargill press slammed Layla Hirsch out to the floor. And that left only the Joker entrant. We had one woman left to enter in this battle royal. And that person was, to the surprise of no one, Ruby Soho, the former Ruby Riott from WWE, putting out social media videos now for a number of weeks. Very well done. She was getting chance before the countdown even started. So these people were ready for her to come out and be the Joker entrant. And AEW gave them exactly what they were looking for. Out comes Ruby. She got a very nice reaction. And yes, she did come out to the Rancid song. She is friends with the guitarist for the band, who said on a podcast that he wanted her to use it and gave her the rights to use it. So she is using Ruby Soho as her theme song. She went after Jade Cargill. Later on, Jade dumped Jamie Hayter, and then Red Velvet, and then Nyla dumped Jade. They had formed this sort of uneasy alliance, and I guess once they got in the Battle Royal, that alliance was no more. I thought they would play it up more. I thought they would build to a spot where Nyla and Jade came face to face in the middle, and they would make a big deal about it. But they didn't really do that. So Ty Conti eliminated Penelope Ford, and Nyla knocked Conti off the apron, and we were down to 3. Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, and Ruby Soho were the final 3. Nyla took them both down, but Rosa came back and knocked Nyla to the floor, and it was down to 2. Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho. Exactly the way that I would have done it. I would have had it come down to these exact same 2 women. But I would have gone a different way on the finish. They traded chops and some elbows. Ruby countered the Fire Thunder driver and sent Rosa out to the apron. Rosa then brought Soho to the apron. So now they're both out there. Ruby blocked the pump kick, hit a knee strike, and she tried to suplex Thunder Rosa to the floor, but then Rosa went for the Death Valley driver, and Soho fought out, sent Rosa into the turnbuckle, kicked her in the head, and Thunder Rosa fell to the floor. And when she did, the crowd popped big, and Ruby Riott was announced as the winner of the Battle Royal. It was smart to have it come down to those 2. And look, Thunder Rosa and Ruby Soho is going to be a program at some point on AEW television. And I think we'll get a whole bunch of good matches because they're very good wrestlers. They're 2 big additions to that women's division. Those are 2 women that division could really use. And so those were 2 big pickups, I think, for AEW. I like what they did with them at the end. I thought the rest of this, it was, this is the problem you run into with a lot of these battle royals. A lot of them just aren't very good. And there was nothing really bad about this one, but there also wasn't really anything that great. But I enjoyed the final few minutes. They positioned the match, I will say, in the right spot. This match ended up in the right spot on the show. It had to be either this or the QT Marshall match, coming off that tag match, because nothing else, it didn't make sense to put anything else after that match. I pulled a Jim Ross? Why people are saying I pulled a Jim Ross? What did I say that I pulled a Jim Ross? Should I retire? Should I just walk away right now? We'll let the camera roll. I pulled a Jim Ross, everybody is saying. What exactly, how did I pull a Jim Ross? I'm very curious now. Anyway, the Battle Royal, it was what it was. We had Chris Jericho and MJF in the final fight. That's what they called it. If Jericho loses, he will never wrestle again in AEW. We got an old school Millennium Countdown entrance. I said Ruby Riott? Okay, well, I said Ruby Riott. Jim Ross called them the Big Show. Who the fuck cares? That's who they are. I still call it WWF sometimes, all right? Go piss off. We got an old school Millennium Countdown entrance for Jericho, or so I thought. I said, oh, this is cool. They're really putting over the fact that Jericho wants people to believe that this is the end of his career, and so he's going old school with his entrance, right? It's counting down. You have the sound effect up there. And then a message appeared on the Trons that said, Jericho's final match. And that son of a bitch got me. It was not Jericho's entrance. It was MJF's entrance. I thought that was fantastic. You talk about a great heel. MJF knows what he's doing. And he came out in this robe. He looked like Jerry Lawler in Memphis coming out in that robe. I love that tease, though. I thought that was fantastic. I'll tell you what, it was a hell of a lot better than Jericho's entrance. Jericho came out, and the fans were ready to sing along to Judas, especially if this was going to be his last match. So instead, they said Billy Gray is his name. He's the guitarist or a guitarist from Fozzy, which is Jericho's band, of course. No words, just doing guitar. And Jericho comes out and he plays Jericho to the ring. I think the idea was they figured the crowd could sing along. The crowd could provide the lyrics. And they were. I mean, a lot of people were singing the song, but would have been a hell of a lot better to just play the song. This didn't work. I don't know if people in the building are going to have, if they're going to share that same sentiment or not. I wasn't there, but to me, this would have worked a lot better if you would have had the actual song playing. So the crowd was pretty quiet for this early, although not nearly as quiet as they were for a lot of the main event. MJF rolled to the floor. He was trying to play some mind games with Jericho. Jericho sent him into the barricade. They brawled into the stands. Jericho grabbed one of these metal stanchions, and he threw it at MJF. He threw it right at his head. Springboard drop kick followed. Jericho went for a baseball slide. MJF, though, pulled back the ring skirt, and he trapped Jericho between the ring and the ring skirt, and that allowed MJF to go on the attack. MJF guillotined Jericho over the ropes. He hit a heat seeker on the ring apron, and Jericho barely made it back into the ring in time. MJF went for an acai moonsault. Now, there's a sentence I bet you didn't expect me to say coming into this review. Fucking MJF going for an acai moonsault. What was I just talking about on the podcast? I just did episode 720 of the podcast today. Well, I guess technically yesterday. And I was running down my predictions, and I said something that people don't really give MJF a lot of credit for is he's actually a pretty good wrestler from what I've seen of him, but we don't get to see him in singles matches a lot. You could probably count on one hand and have a couple of fingers left over the number of singles matches that he has had in 2021. He's not been injured. They just don't put him out there every week. I like that. I like the fact that, we don't see him wrestling every single week. But because of that, I think people don't really appreciate his in-ring work. They just say, oh, he's a great heel. He can talk on the mic. Yeah, but he can work. This guy's busting out in a fucking acai moonsault here in this match. Now, he didn't hit it. Jericho moved out of the way. And then he powerbombed MJF onto the ring apron. Jericho climbed the ropes, but he got met with a code breaker from MJF coming off for a near fall. Jericho came back with a lion salt for a near fall of his own. Jericho, repeated clotheslines in the corner, punches up on the turnbuckle. He's doing the 10 punches, and he tries to go for a Rana off the top. Now, we've seen Jericho do this in a few matches. He goes for the Rana, but MJF counters it into a power bomb, only gets a near fall. He starts biting at Jericho's face. He perches him up top. Jericho fights off, pushes MJF to the mat. That allowed Jericho to hit a diving code breaker, but only for a near fall. Now, the crowd was pretty quiet, when Wardlow came out at this point. Right behind him, though, was Jake Hager. So Wardlow never even had a chance to hit the ring. And those two guys ended up brawling to the back. But while all of this was going on, you had all this commotion going on, and the referee was distracted, MJF grabbed the baseball bat, Jericho's bat. He grabbed Floyd, and he whacked Jericho in the head with it, and then he hit Jericho with his own Judas effect, and he got the 1, 2, 3. Now, the idea here was that Jericho would get his foot on the bottom rope right before the 3 count, but the referee would miss it, and they would do the dusty finish, the false finish, and announce MJF as the winner, which is what they did. But the problem is, and I don't believe they showed a replay of this, and I can understand why, Jericho was late in putting his foot on the rope. He waited a little, he got a little too cute, and he waited a little too long, and he was late. MJF legitimately won this match. MJF got screwed in this match. But the idea is that Jericho got his foot on the rope. And so Paul Turner comes down. He's telling Aubrey Edwards, no, Jericho's foot was on the rope. And so much for the referee's decision being final. They restarted the match. Jericho rolled him up for a great near fall. And MJF turned it into the salt of the earth, his arm breaker. He's trying to get the submission, and Jericho's fighting out of it. And in the end, Jericho got the walls of Jericho locked on. He sat down as deep as he possibly could. And MJF had nowhere to go and no choice but to tap out. Chris Jericho wins the match. Inner Circle comes out to celebrate. Jericho will live to fight another day. You know what that means. You know what that means. That means we are all spared a permanent Jericho move to the announce desk on Rampage. Our ears have been saved. Although he wasn't too bad this week. But a lot of the time, he is very, very loud. Talks over everybody. I was not ready for Jericho permanently on commentary, so I was happy to see Jericho win. Now watch, he'll end up being on commentary every Friday anyway. I thought the match really picked up in the final few minutes. It was a good match, but that took it from good to very good, I thought. I didn't think there was a real chance Jericho was done in the ring, so I expected him to win. And I think MJF, and I said this earlier on the podcast, MJF will be fine. MJF is not buried. MJF had 3 wins over this man coming into the match. And they built it up, and if it were me, I think it would have been cool to just be done with this after the last match and let MJF go on for the rest of his career, claiming that I'm the one guy, Chris Jericho, tried and tried and tried, and he couldn't beat me. And have Jericho never get a win over MJF. I think that would have been cool. It would have been a nice little feather in the cap of MJF. But they went with the babyface finally getting his big win. I don't think it's going to hurt MJF at all. And I thought it was a very good match. So then we get to the real main event on this show. It might not have been positioned as the final match on the card, but let's be honest, we all know this was the real main event. Everything was built around this. It was the return of CM Punk. His first match in over 7 years. The last time we saw him in a match was the Royal Rumble in 2014. So CM Punk rather, aside from maybe hitting a GTS here and there on at an indie show, has not been active in a wrestling ring in 7 years. So you don't really know what you're going to get. He's older. He hasn't done this in a long time. Is there going to be ring rust? Is he going to get blown up? What kind of CM Punk are we going to get here in this match? That was the question coming in. One-on-one against Darby Allin. True to his word, Sting came out, he gave Darby a fist bump, and he retreated back to the locker room. He said on Dynamite, I'm not going to be out there with you guys. I'm going to go to the back, and I'm going to let you guys do your thing. And that's what he did. Punk comes out, he does the old, it's clobbering time. And I thought, physically he looked good. He looked in shape. He was donning long tights. The trunks are gone. The trunks, I guess, are going to stay retired. He was wearing the long pants. Darby, the whole time Punk is doing his entrance, Darby is over in the corner. He's just sitting there watching. Punk looks at him. Punk says, okay. He sits down cross-legged and he's staring at Darby. So we have a staring contest going on in the middle of this ring. We had holy shit chants before these two even touched. They lock up to start, and Darby takes Punk over with an arm drag. And Punk's reaction had to be, you cannot convince me that his reaction to that arm drag, they zoomed in on it, was not an intentional nod to the Bret Hart spot, the same spot in the Bret Hart match on Raw back in 94 against the 1-2-3 Kid. And we know Punk is a huge Bret Hart fan. He was wearing a Bret Hart shirt on Rampage on Friday. No way that spot wasn't a nod to the Bret Hart 1-2-3 Kid match. I like the early part of this match. You knew you were not going to get the insanity of a Young Bucks Lucha Bros match. That's not what this match was supposed to be. That's not what this match was ever going to be. So I wasn't expecting that. This was more of a traditional wrestling match. There's nothing wrong with that. And I thought they did a hell of a job with it. They ran the ropes back and forth until Punk caught Darby in a fireman's carry. He was going for the GTS, but Darby slipped out. He went outside to regroup. Back inside, Punk sent Darby hard. I mean, he whipped him hard into the corner, and Darby took this fucking ridiculous bump. Looked like his armpit hit the post or something, and he bounced and fell down to the floor. Darby came back. He had a coffin splash and the La Magistral cradle for a near fall. Darby hit the code red for another near fall. So now he's climbing the ropes, and Punk pops up and he shoves him down. And Punk goes to the top rope, goes for a back suplex. Darby turned it into a crossbody for a near fall. And finally, Punk gets him up on his shoulders and he hits the GTS. Go to sleep. And Darby Allin falls through the ropes and splats on the ground outside. Same spot they did in the match with Punk and John Cena at Money in the Bank in 2011. He hit the GTS the first time. I don't know if it was the first time, but he hit the GTS and Cena fell out of the ring. Right? He couldn't make the cover. I don't know if that was done on purpose, but that's what that reminded me of. And Darby made it back inside just in time by the count of 9. So Punk hits a corner knee, hits a short arm clothesline before calling for the GTS again. He picks up Darby. Darby fights out with the MMA elbows. Punk rolls to the floor. Darby wipes him out with the tope suicida. And Darby hits a flipping senton off the top rope all the way down to the floor. Darby rolls Punk into the ring. And he goes up top, and he's going to go for the coffin drop. And here comes Darby Allin. Off the top rope for the coffin drop, and just before he can nail it, CM Punk sits up like the fucking Undertaker. He just rises up, and Darby gets nothing but mat, and they zoom in on Punk, and he's laughing. It's like when Samoa Joe used to do that all the time. I used to love it. At Ring of Honor and TNA, Samoa Joe would be outside the ring. Some dipshit would be on the ropes doing like a moonsault or a dive or something, or even in the ring, not even necessarily outside. And they would come off. And all Joe would do, he wouldn't dive out of the way, he wouldn't duck, he just walked. Because that's what a normal person would do. If you saw another person about to hurl their body at you off the top rope, what would you do? I would walk away. Joe used to do that all the time. He came off as the smartest motherfucker in the room. Because that's what you would do in that situation. So Punk sat up and he was very amused by this. So he went to go lay backwards across Darby for the pin, and Darby crucifixed him over for a 2, and then applied his Last Supper cradle for another near fall. I don't know that anybody has kicked out of that before. because I know he's won a whole bunch of matches with it, but Punk kicked out. Darby jumped up on Punk's shoulders. Punk readjusted, though, hit a second GTS. That was Nighty Night Darby Allin. I thought Darby took both of those GTSs like a boss. He took those GTSs like a champ. They looked great. And after 7 years away, CM Punk looked like he didn't miss a step. He looked like he didn't miss a beat. After the match, here comes Sting. I'm thinking, please don't turn this man heel. There has never been a Sting heel turn that has really worked out. Although I will say I did enjoy Joker Sting in TNA. But I don't know that he was really fully a heel. Or at least the fans, I don't remember the fans booing him all the time. There's never been a Sting heel turn that was a good idea. So Sting is coming down to the ring, and he goes over to Punk, and he shakes his hand, and he goes to help Darby to his feet. Darby, he wants to get up on his own power. Punk extends his hand, Darby shakes it, and Darby goes and hugs Sting, and the two of them leave together. And I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, 3 generations in the ring here. This is very cool. We have Sting, we have Punk, and obviously Darby is from the current generation, so you have 3 generations of talent here in the ring. This was pretty much as perfect a comeback match as you could ask for. Punk was at home in front of his hometown fans. He looked absolutely fine. There was nothing wrong with anything he did. Like I said, it looked like if you watch CM Punk on this show, you didn't know any better, you wouldn't know that he was away for 7 years. You would think, okay, it's a CM Punk match. Didn't look any different, didn't look any worse or any better than, he normally would look. I didn't expect an all-time classic in his first match back, given how long he was out of the ring for. I don't think he should have been expected to come back to the ring and, kind of tear it up and have the best match of all time or anything like that. What we got here was, I thought, a very good professional wrestling match. I like this match a lot. But there was no way Punk was losing in his hometown in his very first match. Darby Allin loses absolutely nothing. I love what they did at the end. I like that they sent Sting out there and they stopped the music, because what it did was it put the focus on Darby. They cut off Cult of Personality. Punk was looking at Darby. Sting was looking at Darby. What's he going to do? He didn't want their help. He was going to struggle to his feet on his own. They did the handshake. I like that. Darby got over in defeat. That's what you want. If he's going to lose, you hope that he comes out of it stronger than he was going into it. And I thought, mission accomplished. So this match went as perfectly as it could possibly go. JJ Ice just became a channel member. Thank you, JJ. I appreciate that. And Axe Evans just subscribed. So you get Nakamura dancing on the screen now. Thank you, Axe. So the Full Gear pay-per-view. In November, I mentioned this on the podcast earlier, and I said this is something to watch for, and we already got our answer. Full Gear was originally scheduled for St. Louis on November 6th. And I had noticed the other day that it was removed from the schedule of events on the AEW website. I thought, well, that's kind of strange. And it was pointed out to me that there are 2 big pay-per-view shows that night. On the same night, there's a UFC show, UFC 268, and there is a Canelo Alvarez fight. And there is no way that Tony Khan wants to go up against both of those shows on the same night. And those shows aren't moving, which only left one option, which was for AEW to move the show. And that's what's happened. Full Gear is now going to be on November 13th. I assume it'll still be in St. Louis. I don't know if they mentioned or not, but it is now November 13th. So if you have tickets to the show on November 6th, you might want to look into that. I assume they're just going to bump it back, same building, a week later. We had Paul Wight. This was the piss break match. Paul Wight against QT Marshall. Or QT Marshall. Like I said, I want you to call me the Solomonster from now on. QT Marshall. Give me a break. Get the fuck out of here. They got the buffer spot that the women used to get on the WWE pay-per-views. They would put the women right before the main event, right between 2 big matches. They call it the popcorn match. It's the piss break match. That's what it was. As late as the show was going, there really was no need for this to be on the show. Paul Wight came out. He dispatched the factory members very quickly. Aaron Solo and Caveman Camarado were out there. He hit overhand chops. QT fought out. Hit a low drop kick to take Paul Wight off his feet. And Wight quickly sent QT out of the ring. QT went for a running diamond cutter. He came back in, and he went for a running diamond cutter. And Big Show just shoved him off. Easiest counter in the world. Just shove the guy off. Then he hit a gigantic back body drop. Aaron Solo got pulled up onto the apron by Paul Wight, who gave him a giant chop. And then he took out Camarado with a running shoulder block, and he hit the choke slam on QT for the win. I'm actually glad to see him using the choke slam. I never liked it when he used what they called the weapon of mass destruction punch, the WMD. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot easier for him to do. Yeah, I know the guy's getting older and everything, but choke slam's his move. So I like that he went back to that. That's about the only thing I liked about this. Not much else to say. But good for the Big Show. You could tell he was happy to be in the ring. I know he's been through a lot. He had like 5 hip surgeries and stuff, so I got nothing against him. It's just, when you get this late in the show, and you could tell that, the crowd was getting quieter and quieter and quieter. Is there really a need for this? I guess this was the buffer, but didn't really need to happen. So then we got to the main event. So-called main event. Kenny Omega defending the AEW World Championship against the Impact World Champion Christian Cage. Christian, who of course got a win on TV a few weeks ago. Excellent match on Rampage against Kenny Omega to win the Impact title. So you knew these guys, going in, they're going to have a very good match. I think it would be impossible for these two to go in there and have anything but a good match, right? They're both very good. So Christian hit an early dive from the top out over the ring post onto Omega, who was on the floor. Omega then pulled a table out from underneath the ring. And he laid it across Christian. He had gotten Christian down on the floor. He lays the table down across Christian's chest. And he jumps up onto the apron, and he comes off with a stomp onto the table, which broke the table in half. Omega pulls another table out from under the ring, and he sets it up, and he tries to suplex Christian through the table. And Christian reversed, and he suplexed him on the floor. Finally, they're back inside. They had left the table alone, so you knew the table was going to come back into play at some point, but they left the table alone for now. Omega eventually dumps Christian back outside. Omega slipped. And he went for a move on the barricade, but he slipped and he kind of fell on his ass. And he's looking now you could see the gears going in his head, like, all right, I fucked up. How do I fix this here? And he just jumped up onto the barricade and he hit the moonsault. So all's well that ends well. Omega botched, but he ended up hitting it. So again, I wrote crowd really quiet here because it was noticeably quiet. And you can understand why. I think it's a combination of different things. I think a big part of it is that, at this point, it's a 11:15. It has been a long show. AEW does 4 pay-per-views a year. That's it. They don't do pay-per-views, every month. They do them 4 times a year. They try to get a lot of people on the show. They load these cards up with a lot of great matches. But you just get to a certain point where if the match isn't overly exciting enough, and I don't know that anybody honestly believed Christian was going to win this match, then you're going to get a crowd that kind of feels tired. And they were noticeably quiet for a good part of this match. I blame QT Marshall. That's who I blame. I blame QT Marshall. Let's just blame him. Omega hit an Ushigoroshi and the pin attempt, but Christian kicked out. Omega went up top. He was trying for something. I don't know exactly what he was trying for. But he took too long, and Christian crotched him, climbed up, and hit a Rana off the top. Omega fought back, tried for a power bomb, but Christian slipped out and hit a tornado DDT for a near fall. Omega hit a V-trigger to Christian's back in the corner, and followed that with a Snapdragon. Followed that with another Snapdragon. Followed that with another Snapdragon. And then there's the V-trigger, right to the face. So Omega was now looking for a German suplex off the apron down through the table that he had set up on the floor earlier in the match. He's trying to German him over, put him through the table. Christian's holding on. Christian tries to reverse into a kill switch. No dice. Omega tries for the one-winged angel down through the table. No dice. Christian, though, he breaks free, and he manages to hit a running spear off the apron, and down through the table they go. And Christian got cut up on his ribs. I guess that was the leg or maybe a shard from the table cut him, because he had a bloody cut on his rib cage when he came up. Back in the ring, 2 more spears by Christian, but Omega kicks out. So Christian goes off the top rope with a frog splash. Omega, though, gets the knees up, hits the ripcord V-trigger, and Christian fights back, gets a high-angle Texas cloverleaf, or I guess what we call it, Canadian cloverleaf in this case. Don Callis is waving for someone. He's waving for Gallows and Anderson. Good to see Carl Anderson putting the phone down and not tweeting for a few minutes. We're all better off for it. So Callis has the referee distracted. Gallows is holding Christian. Omega comes in with the V-trigger, but Christian ducks, and he nails Gallows. And down goes Doc Gallows. Christian hits the kill switch, which Excalibur was mentioning. You know, that's how Christian won. Well, Christian won by doing it on a chair. It's not exactly the same thing. But Kenny Omega kicked out. Christian perches Omega up top. He tries for an avalanche kill switch, but Omega digs his fingers into Christian's eyes, and he hits an avalanche one-winged angel to retain the AEW championship and hand Christian his first loss in AEW. So out come the Young Bucks, limping to the ring to celebrate. I guess for the sake of the angle, they had no choice. Yeah, I guess for what they did, they had to have them out there, but I almost kind of wish they didn't come out after the match they had earlier. I would just be selling those injuries, but at least they were limping. They look like the walking wounded. So they come down to the ring with the Good Brothers. They're all in the ring. They're celebrating, and they all start ganging up on Christian. Here comes Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus to try to make the save. They're quickly dispatched. So the lights go out. And I like what they did here. And I'll tell you why. Even though I don't know that you needed Adam Cole on this show, but obviously they were setting up a very specific angle here at the end. So I actually liked what they did. But the lights go out, and what they wanted is they wanted you to think that BRYAN Danielson is coming out, right? Because that's all everybody was talking about. BRYAN Danielson was coming out. Well, it's not BRYAN Danielson. It is Adam Cole, baby. Huge reaction. People were not expecting him to come out in this spot. Adam Cole has been a free agent for about a week. Didn't take him very long. He is all elite. He supposedly had his sit-down interview with Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon loved him. We're going to come up with ideas for you. He told the creative teams on both shows, start coming up with ideas for this guy. And then reports came out that Adam Cole had one request that was non-negotiable, which is that he be allowed to continue running his Twitch account, which you're not allowed to do in WWE. Or at least only under their conditions, you have to do it. And he said that was non-negotiable. It was something that was very important to him. And I joked with the idea that, can you imagine if you're WWE and you really want to keep this guy? And you should want to keep this guy because this guy is a great talent. You've invested 4 years into him in NXT. He's wrestled everybody there is to wrestle. He has had some of the greatest matches in NXT history. None better, I don't think, than the match with Johnny Gargano at TakeOver New York a couple of years ago. And to think that they would have, in the end, either let him walk or caused him to walk away because of Twitch. It is just mind-boggling to me. But you know what? Thank you, Twitch, is all I have to say. Because Adam Cole is exactly where he needs to be. Adam Cole was never going to get anywhere on Raw. Probably was never going to get anywhere on SmackDown. Let's be honest. Let's just be fucking honest. this is the best place for him. And not just because his girlfriend works there, although I'm sure now they probably are both very happy because they'll get to be around each other a lot more. But just the people that are in this company, the friends that he has there, the people that he's worked with before, the type of product that they have, he is a much better fit in AEW than he ever would have been on the main roster in WWE. So when he came out, I was surprised and I was very happy to see him come out. Adam Cole comes out. First thing he does when he gets into the ring is he attacks Jungle Boy. So as happy as people were to see Adam Cole, he instantly went heel. He attacked the baby faces and he hugged the Elite. The men who killed him and took his life on being the Elite. And he joined forces with them, his old buddies, his old Bullet Club friends. Kenny Omega is about to sign off. He goes, "You thought you were going to have a happy ending." And he's about to do the big sign off that he usually does. All of a sudden we hear Flight of the Valkyries. And out comes BRYAN Danielson. The American Dragon is all elite. We've heard about this for months. We didn't know when he was going to show up, although we knew he was going to show up. We thought maybe New York. Then we heard it got bumped up. And credit to bodyslam.net. I believe they were the first ones to break that it was bumped up from New York to Chicago. He comes out. You know what? I'm not even going to sit here and complain too much about the fact that he didn't come out to Final Countdown because I don't know. Maybe they couldn't get the rights. Maybe they tried and they just couldn't get the rights to the song. That's what I was kind of hoping he would come out to. Have that old epic Final Countdown entrance that I saw him have so many times in Ring of Honor back in the day. But he came out to their version of Flight of the Valkyries, and everybody was chanting yes. They were putting their fingers up in the air. And BRYAN Danielson comes down to the ring, fresh out of the WrestleMania main event. Don't forget, this guy was in the WrestleMania main event only a matter of months ago. It is insane. When you think about what is going on here in this company, they have CM Punk back. WWE could have had him back. And they played games, and he ended up going somewhere else. He comes back to the ring for the first time in 7 years. And they sell out the United Center. And now they get BRYAN Danielson, who has been a headliner in this company now, for the most part, a headliner. Aside from the years where he had to retire because of the injury, he was a headliner multiple years in this company. BRYAN Danielson is a 2-time WrestleMania main eventer. Not even CM Punk has 1 WrestleMania main event. Daniel Bryan has 2. He was a major part of that company for a very long time. And to think that they got both of these guys within a matter of weeks, and on the same fucking night, Adam Cole walks in the door at AEW. And even Ruby Soho, shout out to her too. Like I said, she's going to be a nice boost to the women's division. She's another one who should have been utilized better. She was actually on her way. She was having really good matches and supposedly was getting a lot of praise behind the scenes, and then she had the double shoulder surgery. And ever since she came back, she was gone for a year. She was never the same. So even she never really got back to where she had been on her way to going, and now she's got a new lease on life in this company. But you look at Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and Adam Cole. I was kind of hoping we'd get Samoa Joe. He ended up going back to NXT. Otherwise, he could have been in there. But that's 3 huge names for AEW to pick up, all in the span of a matter of weeks. And they may not even be done. There could be more. If you don't think that that doesn't shift the momentum in their favor, we're not talking about rating. Oh, well, you know, they're not beating Raw. No, they're not going to beat Raw. I'm not talking about ratings. I'm talking about just the momentum that this company has right now. It's like they're on a fucking lightning bolt, and they have to keep riding that lightning bolt as long as they can. Just don't go into the sun. Keep riding this wave of momentum as long as you can, because that's how you grow your fan base. That's how you get people excited to want to tune into your television show. And maybe the conversation a year from now that you and I are having is very different than the way things are today. Who knows where AEW can be in a year? It's not about any one single person. It's about what all of these acquisitions and all of these changes represent. They have made this a very fun period of time to be a wrestling fan. For a long time, the fun was sort of sucked out of things. But it's fun to follow along with everything that's going on, not knowing who's going to show up or when. Putting together matches and programs that people actually want to see. It's refreshing. And it's cool to see these guys who have been doing this for a long time have a fucking giant smile on their face, like they've just rediscovered their love for pro wrestling. So Bryan Danielson gets in the ring. He stands with the baby faces. We have a face-off here in the middle of this ring. And then the big brawl breaks out. Everyone's fighting everybody. And Bryan hits the running knee to Nick Jackson, takes him out. And they went off the air with loud AEW chants, which if you're Tony Khan, that's exactly the chant that you want to be hearing. They're chanting AEW. This was quite the finish to this pay-per-view. I was not expecting a double debut of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson on the same show, let alone in the same segment. But now the battle lines have been drawn. Adam Cole is with the Elite. He breathes some new life now into a faction that, quite frankly, I was getting a little sick and tired of seeing. All the stuff with Gallows and Anderson, and now we have a new face in the fray. And now we have Bryan Danielson on the other side. Who knows if CM Punk maybe fits into all of this. I would almost maybe keep him separate, doing his own thing for now. But I thought that this was top to bottom, with very few exceptions, an excellent show. One of the most fun pay-per-views that I have had the pleasure of watching in a very long time. AEW, I thought, hit a home run tonight. That tag team cage match, if you didn't see it and you're just tuned in for the review, trying to hear about what happened, you need to go track that match down. It's one of the greatest tag team matches that you will ever see. Some people don't like the Young Bucks style. They don't like their matches. They don't like all the super kicks and everything. They told a story. There was some crazy spots. There was some drama with some of the near falls. The Lucha Bros bled. Phoenix did the dive off the top. Everything they did in that match, it all paid off in the end with the title change. They gave the people what they wanted. Sometimes you just have to give the people what they want. You can't give it to them all the time. But when you do, they will reward you. And for the most part, that Chicago crowd, I think, rewarded AEW. Shout out to Chicago. AEW had Chicago overload for weeks. They were at the United Center a few weeks ago, 14,000 people. They ran 3 different times at that very same building this week before they even got to the pay-per-view. That was number 3. A lot of those fans were the same fans, and right up until the very last night, they were, for the most part, loud and very energetic. They were as much a part of the show, I think, as anything else. So shout out to Chicago and all the people who flew in from places outside of Chicago. I know I had a lot of friends here in New York who went to the show. And I'm jealous. I'm jealous because I'm sure it was a lot of fun to be in the building tonight. Now, Wednesday on Dynamite, it's going to be Jon Moxley one-on-one against Minoru Suzuki. That's reason enough to tune into that show. Dustin Rhodes one-on-one against Malachi Black. And then, of course, on Rampage on Friday, we had the announcement that they are going to be doing Pac one-on-one against Andrade El Idolo, which we did not get tonight. We almost had that match on the show. Imagine how much better the show would have been with that match on the card. That was one of the matches I was most looking forward to. And now they get to save it for Rampage on Friday. I am very curious to see. We have a lot of people in here, so I want to know how many people have so far voted in the Twitter poll. You see, by the way, on the screen, at Solomonster. That is my Twitter handle. Go there right now because we have a poll that is open. What did you think of AEW All Out? So far, we already have almost 3,300 votes. 96% say thumbs up. Just 4% say thumbs down. It's all the people who are upset that Adam Cole left WWE. They're not very happy. Now, in addition to these 3,200 plus votes, we have another 2,700 in the live chat. We have a poll in there, 96% thumbs up to 4% thumbs down. Look at that. They mirror each other. Exactly the same result. How about that? How about that? And that is with almost 6,000 votes in. Holy shit. You think they didn't do a big buy rate tonight? By AEW standards? I don't see how they couldn't set their pay-per-view buy rate record. With all the anticipation just for the whole Punk having his first match back and then the Danielson stuff, I would be shocked if I come to find out that they didn't do the biggest number that they have ever done for any of their shows. Let me take a look at where we are. We have over 1,300 likes, which is awesome. Let's see if we can get that up to 1,500 before we end tonight. Now, I want to know what you guys thought of this show. And we do a little thing here on the stream. We do a little super chat party. So I get to hear from you. What did you think? I'm curious how you would grade this show, what you liked and what you didn't like, what you thought was the best part of the show. Are you excited now for the Elite facing off against Danielson and Jurassic Express? You know, should they be doing like gang warfare, or should, you know, Danielson be kind of doing his own thing? I'm curious, because I kind of like the idea of everybody taking their own position and having a little faction war going on here. Not that I would put Danielson in a faction, but you know what I mean. So let's see. Let us see what you guys have to say. There we go. Well, we got a lot. We got a lot of them to get through here. I got to scroll all the way back. Future Endeavored in the chat says, "Fuck it, 2,000 likes. I like it. Let's get to 2K." Let's get to 2K. Yeah. Don West is all elite. Hey, shout out to Don West. He tweeted yesterday or the day before that he is in remission. He was undergoing, I think, chemo and radiation for cancer. And Don West is officially in remission from his cancer. We can all salute Don West. Fucking love Don West. Don West is awesome. And I was really bummed out when I heard he was sick and he had to step away from his radio gig. And now he is doing better and he's getting ready to go back to work. And that is the best news I heard all week. So shout out to Don West and all the best to him. Boy, we got a lot of super chats together. We're going to be here for a while. So if you guys want to hang out, we're going to have a grand old time here. Hey, Naif, thank you, man, for dropping that $9.99. And Bobby Bronson just subscribed. It's, Nakamura dances on my screen here. The Undertaker 2024. Lucha Bros match was fantastic. $50 well spent on this pay-per-view for that match alone. It was something else. It really was. It's not very often that I'm left kind of speechless by a match, but that match did it for me. EJ Slemp didn't go to the show live because of a bachelor party this weekend, but ordered it and loved it. Amazing show. I will be in St. Louis for Full Gear. Well, enjoy, EJ, and don't go on the wrong day. It's November 13 now, not November 6. Miles Woods, hey Solomonster. Just wondering what's AEW's WrestleMania, if you will. Boy, you know, after tonight, how do you not say Full Gear, or how do you not say All Out? I would have said, God, you know, I probably would have said Revolution, but I'm thinking after tonight, it's got, how can it not be All Out? You put on a show like this. I mean, how do you top this? Right? I mean, this was their, tonight, this was their WrestleMania. This was the best top to bottom AEW show that they have ever produced. Mel 21. Actually, look at this. Mr. Hall of Fame 23 dropping $50. Said, I'm calling in, we need to network. No, we're not doing calls. We got too many messages to get through here. But Mr. Hall of Fame dropping the 5-0. Thank you, sir. Mel 21. First time I actually see CM Punk in action due to not watching wrestling for a while, and I loved it. Can't wait to see more of it. Cage match was also great. The Lucha Brothers deserved that win. Now they can begin to build Santana and Ortiz for their eventual title match. You know, one idea that I floated was maybe you do the Santana and Ortiz FTR, you put them in there in a three-way, maybe for the titles at Arthur Ashe in a few weeks. And Santana and Ortiz win the belts. And then the Lucha Bros end up going heel and aligning with Andrade. But, boy, you know, after that match tonight, how do you turn those guys heel? I mean, that would be insane. Powerful one with the $9.99. Say what you will about the Bucks and Omega's trolling antics and goofy crap, but inside the ring, when the bell rings and it's time to go, I dare you to find me anyone better. Magician Sapphire, dropping 10. Fantastic pay-per-view so far, except for the Paul Wight piss break match. Definitely should have been a Dynamite or a Rampage match. Yeah, you know, I think they could have, well, I don't know how big of a rating, but, you know, promoting Paul Wight's first wrestling match in an AEW ring probably could have done well, you know, ratings-wise for a big Dynamite match or a Rampage match. I agree. There was no reason you couldn't put that on one of those shows. Christian Treyhid. First time in several years, I took the time to buy and watch a pay-per-view. Feels good to get excited about wrestling again. Go AEW. Groovy Goose. What's going on, Groovy? What a night to be a wrestling fan. That was fun. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And you know, I have to say something. I'm glad you brought that up. I want to mention something here. Because there are times where I will hear people say, oh, you know, it's a lot better for YouTubers and podcasters to just shit on everything. And to just shit on WWE just for the sake of doing it because it's great for likes and views and all that kind of stuff. And super chats and whatever else. And I will say this, it's not bad, and here's the reason. Because what it is when people are inspired in some way. They can be inspired in a great way, or they can be inspired in a negative way. Right? So when I did my Hell in a Cell review a couple of years ago, after that garbage with The Fiend and Seth Rollins, we had 4,200 people on this stream, venting, waiting to hear what I wasn't even on video at that point. Waiting to hear what I had to say to rip that fucking main event and that show to shreds, right? And there was a great opening match on that show, too, with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. I can't rip on that. But tonight is a great example. When you have a great show that people think is fun and they enjoy it, we had well over 3,000 people in here, still do, and people are going nuts because they're excited. Because AEW gave them what they wanted to see, and they made it fun for them. So no, it's not just a matter of, well, you know, you gotta, only when you shit on something or you're negative about something. No, tonight was an example. I would love for every fucking pay-per-view to be like this. Are you kidding me? I would love to come on here and talk about shows like this every single month. And believe me, the streams would do great. When I shit on things, it's because they fucking deserve it. I don't care what company it is. That's why people listen to me. Because they know that I'm not fucking around. I'm shooting from the hip. I'm giving you my thoughts and my opinion. I'm not giving you somebody else's opinion. I'm not telling you what I think you want to hear. So when you go back and watch this and you see a smile on my face when I'm reviewing some of this stuff, that's a genuine smile on my face. And believe me, those streams, they do just as well as the negative ones. Tonight was a great example of that. So there's my little sermon for you. Jealous, thank you for subscribing to the channel. Savon Watson with $1.99. 10 out of 10 show. I am happy to be a wrestling fan. Stephen McDade. If AEW can land their pay-per-view on a streaming service, WWE is in trouble. By the way, I use Fight TV tonight. As soon as they said you have the option of using Fight TV instead of Bleacher Report, I mean, my feet couldn't carry me fast enough over to Fight TV. I don't know about you guys. I'd love to hear from you on that, how you streamed it. I had no issues. I had a flawless stream on Fight TV, and hopefully it'll be that way going forward, and they will allow that as an option and not just keep it to Bleacher Report. Powerful one. Best show that they have ever done. Drew Johnson with the $10. Thank you. Awesome pay-per-view. Solomonster, you the man. Adam Cole is elite. Indeed, he is. The tall one, 93. All Cole wanted was his Twitch stream. That's all he wanted. I'm telling you, if we come to find out, that is the reason ultimately that he walked away from WWE, what a fucking dumb company. And I can understand not wanting to do for one and not other people, but it's just an indictment of the whole policy of how stupid it is. To think that they could have lost a talent like Adam Cole over something so dumb. It's just, it boggles the mind. It really, really does. Absolutely boggles the mind. Hey, Fernando B, thank you for becoming a Sound Off superstar. Welcome to the family. We got a lot of new channel members tonight. And one of the first things you can do is you can go back and check out Sound Off episode 11 from January of 2008. Normally the retro audio is, and it's not all up. I'm putting it up bit by bit, week by week. There's a huge back catalog that is not online anywhere else, and I'm slowly uploading the old shows. Normally that's for folks on the Legends tier, which is the higher tier, but episode 11 I put out there for all channel members. So if you're curious what I sounded like or what I was talking about back in January of 08, we were heading into WrestleMania 24. Actually, we're heading into the Royal Rumble. You now have access to that show. So enjoy. Skull Dipper 125. Best pay-per-view of the year for me. Even my brother's 7 and 11-year-old kids were having fun watching the show with me. Match of the night was definitely the tag team title match. Absolutely. Enigma, you've got to give the people what they want. So simple, isn't it? It's so simple. Can't always give them everything they want, but boy, when you do, they will reward you for it. Fernando, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Ryan Spies, so glad the Bucks and Cole did the cheek kiss spot. Super Click reunion, baby. Tuxedo T Servo, that tag match, the debuts. QT, a quick squash. Just the show and card in general, 5 out of 5. JN Sermons, best AEW pay-per-view ever. DGU, thank you for the sub. Emran for life. Okay, I'm sold. I am a wrestling fan again. Scorpio Sky's well-trimmed beard joining us tonight, dropping $20. It's been a while, but here I am. Here you are. Here you are. And Scorpio Sky only had one little, little segment up in the skybox for about 5 minutes. But Scorpio Sky's well-trimmed beard is getting more airtime here than Scorpio Sky did. Andrew Jorlog dropping $50. I missed that one earlier. Holy shit, 2 hours ago. I hope Andrew is still here. Andrew, thank you. Amiibo, go get some sleep. Thank you for joining. But Andrew said, best pay-per-view, top to bottom I've ever seen. Unreal. Really curious what the buy rate will be and what Dynamite ratings will be. Thank you, Andrew. Donnie Don dropping 50. Look at this, back to back. This was the first wrestling pay-per-view I have purchased in years, and man, it was worth every cent. You know, it's hard to condense it down to which moment I liked the most. Obviously, the tag team match was insane. That was the best match. But Minoru Suzuki walking out there, man, you know, it was cool to see Danielson and Cole. We kind of expected that we were going to see them at some point. I think Minoru Suzuki walking out and having a little battle in the ring with Jon Moxley might be my favorite moment of the entire show. Because it's the one moment I didn't see coming, and I had been dying to see Suzuki walk through the so-called forbidden door and do something with AEW. So if I had to pick a moment that I liked the most on this show, honestly, it was Minoru Suzuki showing up with his music, walking out there, murder grandpa on the show. That gets my vote. Peter Pan Parker, this show is better than this year's WrestleMania. Nick Grosso. Oh, look who it is. Look at the suit. There's Nia Jax and her hole on my screen. You want to know what I think of Nia Jax after that debacle with Charlotte on Raw last Monday? I just put the video clip up here on the channel, so when you're done here, you can go check that out. I give you all my thoughts on what I thought of that match and what I think of Nia Jax in the ring. You get happy Solomonster here on the stream. You want angry Solomonster, you go check out that video. But Nick Grosso dropping 10. Adam Cole, Bay. And BRYAN DANIELSON, yes. Let's not forget Ruby Soho. Damn, what a night. WWE really screwed up letting all this talent just walk. Well, you know, Danielson, I'm sure they made a play for him. I don't know exactly what it was that led to him walking out. You know, we heard that he wanted the freedom to work outside matches, maybe in Japan. Was it that? Was he just looking to leave? He saw what was going on in AEW and he said, you know what? That looks like fun. I want some of that. I think with him, he just wanted the freedom to work outside the company. He's talked about wanting to work in Mexico and do a hair match. So I think with him, I think he was gone regardless. I don't even know the WWE would have been able to do anything to keep him. I think if they threw $5 million at him, he probably would have walked. I don't get the sense with him it's just about the money. I think he wants to have fun. I don't know that he knows how many years he's got left doing this, and I think he just wants the freedom to go work in different places. And WWE was simply, you know, never going to give him that freedom. Which is kind of crazy, because a guy like him, I would not have let him go. I would have tried to work something out. If that's what he wanted, well, you know what? You got to find a way to make that work. That's not a talent that you should just be allowing to walk into your competitor. Temjin Zephyr dropping $9.99. I recall you were slightly disappointed you didn't get Suzuki to face Mox tonight, but it seems your prayers were answered somehow. It was a fun moment, and I am sure that you were excited as hell, as I was, indeed. I almost wish I was recording my reaction when he came out. Let's see. Answer, where'd you find this? Dropping $5. There is no reason to watch WWE anymore. Well, I mean, I have a podcast to do, so of course I have to watch WWE. There are things in WWE I enjoy. But I have a show to do, so I have to watch WWE. I won't be watching a Raw or SmackDown at all. Only reason I'm keeping Peacock is for the Attitude Era. Well, I'll tell you what, Answer, you don't have to watch. You just tune into the streams and the podcasts and the videos, and I got you covered. I'll watch so you don't have to. Thank you for the super chat. Jalen Banks, thank you for the sub. Welcome to the family. We're all a little crazy around here, but we don't bite. Sean Monroe, thank you for the sub. Jonathan, Corky, great show. Boy, Nakamura, he's dancing all over these super chats. Get the fuck out of here. Here we go. Great show. Being a nitpicky a-hole, I didn't like the cage match as much as everybody else, and Adam Cole already feels like an afterthought. Great show. Wow. Already feels like the guy's been on TV for 5 minutes, and already he feels like, well, he was going to feel like an afterthought debuting on the same night that, you know, BRYAN DANIELSON did. That's one of the reasons why I wouldn't have debuted him on the same night, but they did it a certain way because they wanted to make him a heel. And obviously they didn't want to go off the air with a heel celebration, so I get why they did what they did. But I don't think Adam Cole will be an afterthought. Let's give it some time. But thank you, Jonathan, for the 5. Coggies with the 1999. Just amazing. My personal highlight was Minoru showing up to challenge Mox. You know, I've been pining for that strong style violence. But then Ruby, Adam, and Brian. Oh my. Best pay-per-view of the year. Top 3 for AEW to date. I'd say it's number 1. Epsilon Sama. Minoru Suzuki, Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and BRYAN DANIELSON. Do you think Vince should be worried now? If I was him, I would be worried 100%. You know, Vince McMahon is not... I don't see him being worried. I think that he would much rather have those guys working for him. But do I think he's shaking in his boots? No, because he's got guaranteed billions of dollars. So you got to remember something. It was somebody mentioned the Attitude Era a minute ago. Their back was up against the wall. Like, their company was literally on the brink of bankruptcy until they raised their pay-per-view prices. I think they raised it by $5. Of all the things, within a few months, that's what got them out of the hole that they were in. But for a while there, it was very scary. And I think when your back is against the wall and you're desperate and you're being pushed and your life is basically on the line, you'll do anything. You'll do what you need to do to survive and to fight back. So the Vince McMahon who fought back against WCW in 97 and 98 is very different than the Vince McMahon of today. Vince McMahon has nothing to fear because he knows he's got these big fat contracts that are going to pay him billions of dollars. So again, when people say, oh, Vince McMahon is worried, no, he's not. He's not sitting in his office, shaking with sweat coming down his face. I think he's upset to lose someone like a Daniel Bryan. I think he wanted Adam Cole to sign. Is he going to lose sleep over Adam Cole going to AEW? No. But what he should be concerned with is his own product and putting out a show that people actually want to see. That's what he should be worried about. He should be worried about 2023 when it comes time to renegotiate those TV contracts. AEW keeps up this momentum. It's going to be very interesting when those TV contracts come due. KB Magic, thank you, sir, for the sub. Appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Joe Olivo says, best pay-per-view of the year. Thank you for the 20 spot, Joe. I appreciate that. BG Thrilla. I thought the show was good. Always room for improvement. Well, what would you improve? I'm curious now. So I want to hear about the segments you liked, but I want to hear about the ones you didn't like either. So I would be curious to know what you would improve. Of course, it wasn't perfect. There's always room for improvement. That is true. Ryan Egler. If this show was sex, it would be the best I ever had. What a freaking show. So Ryan is comparing All Out to a sexual experience. Quintus Brown, incredible show. Cole and Bryan. Tony Khan, you can put away the checkbook for a while. I am so effing happy. You mean you don't want to see Braun Strowman, All Elite, making his debut on Dynamite this week? Carolina Blood. So, pay-per-view of the year. Yeah, I'd say so. I would say this is the pay-per-view of the year so far. Although I'm trying to remember Wrestle Kingdom. Guys, it feels like so long ago. It was only the beginning of the year. But yes, I would say All Out is a pretty good candidate for show of the year. Kris Long Island. That tag match broke Meltzer's rating scale. Oh my God, Meltzer, I can only imagine. It's gonna give that fucking match 8 stars. Granny, hell yeah. Boy, they really went all out. Hell of a show. BB Bilal with the $5. Notre Dame wins. Spurs atop the table. Gooners at the bottom. And AEW had a great show minus those special entrances and the factory, of course. Who is the Gooners? What is Gooners? I know the Goonies. Were you talking about the Goonies? I don't know who the Gooners are. It's probably a sports reference that I'm just not familiar with. Tyler Fairchild, creepy Jeff Hardy. That's the $20 super chat. It always creeps me out. Tyler Fairchild. The WWE Cooperate group chat is losing their shit. But Vince is probably asleep. Yes, he's counting his money. He doesn't count sheep. He counts his money as it floats from above. He probably sleeps with it too. He puts Linda on the couch and he has all the money spread out all over the bed. He sleeps with the money. That's what I would do. Luke W. Hey, CP365 Ruben, thanks for the sub. Luke W, first pay-per-view since 2014. Glad to be a wrestling fan again. Punk and Darby was awesome. Wow. So it's Luke's first pay-per-view since 2014. So to him, it's almost like Punk never left. Because that was the last year Punk wrestled on pay-per-view. See? So there you go. It's like the guy never left. I skipped one? Okay, let's see. Which one did I skip? I don't think I skipped. Oh, wait, I did. You're right. Uffman. I almost missed Uffman's super chat. Uffman. WWE will answer All Out with Legends Night for Raw tomorrow. Oh, that's right. When things go down a little bit, you just trot out the legends and you shit all over them. That's what they do. I will say, at least AEW does a much better job of treating their legends with actual respect. WWE, boy, the last Legends Night they did at the beginning of the year had Big Show and Mark Henry. And they're not even in the company anymore. Because all they did is have Randy Orton go out there and just fucking berate them and insult them, and, you know, he did everything but piss all over them. I can't imagine why they wanted to leave. Tuxedo, yes, I will see you on Wednesday night, my friend. L Silver 96 just subscribed to the channel. Boy, Nakamura's got his dancing shoes on tonight. Look at this guy go. He is wearing the IWGP Intercontinental title, which unfortunately no longer exists. Lexi Richter, thank you for the sub. Oh, here's that super chat. Tetsuya, not Naito, but Aito with the $5. The best AEW pay-per-view ever, in my opinion. Basically, their WrestleMania 17, Glory by Honor 5 Night 2. And Danielson is the GOAT. Do you know that I was at Glory by Honor 5 Night 2? At the Manhattan Center. That indeed is one of the best. That is the best wrestling show that I think I have ever gone to. Was Glory by Honor 5 Night 2. And I saw somebody retweeted, there was an old tweet that Tony Khan posted in 2012. And Tony Khan, right, this is years before AEW, actually was responding to somebody, and he said the same thing. He said Glory by Honor 5 Night 2 is one of his all-time favorite shows. So if you have never seen that show, you need to go search for it. They probably sell it on the Ring of Honor site. I don't know if you want to buy it, but Bruno Sammartino was there that night. He came out and gave a speech, and the whole roster was like around the ring, hanging on his every word. It was great. Joe Olivo. Actually, Sealy Henry just subscribed. Joe Olivo, best pay-per-view of the year. AEW is the #1 company. Period. End of story. What is up, Solomonster? What is going on, Joe? I'm still 2 hours behind in Super Chats. Oh my god. I better get through these. Ryan Spies with the $4.99. Cole and Omega are 100% going to have Starscream and Megatron dynamic. You know what it felt like at the end of this show? Putting all these, like, Danielson and Cole, and it's like fucking Avengers Assemble. You know, it's like, how many names can they fit in one fell swoop? This is like their version of that. Fucking Avengers Assemble here. If the Avengers were a little on the smaller side, this is what it would be like. Frost757. If you listen closely in the distance, you will hear Pro Wrestling Tees website crashing again. I hope not, because there's still a Labor Day sale. I want people to go to my store, and you get 20% off all Sound Off shirts through 1 o'clock Eastern in the afternoon tomorrow. So, little plug there. ProWrestlingTees.com/Solomonster Sounds Off. I got over 30 designs in the store. You get 20% off when you use the code Labor Day at checkout. All one word, Labor Day. So if the website did not crash, you can go to the store and get 20% off. Darlene, what is going on, Darlene? I hope you are having a good night. Incredible pay-per-view. It was near perfect. AEW is the best pro wrestling company in the world right now. Javier Jacques, Solomonster, Punk and Bryan. Am I 16 again? It feels like it, right? It kind of feels like you feel like a kid again, almost watching, not knowing who's going to show up. I mean, it hasn't been this way for so long. Epsilon Sama, Tony Khan and Vince McMahon are trending on Twitter. Why is Vince McMahon trending on Twitter? Oh, probably the Adam Cole stuff, I would guess, right? Tony Khan is trending with Vince McMahon on Twitter. That is hilarious. Actually, somebody, let me check something real quick here. Because there was some... Okay. Yeah, there was some kind of rumor going around. I just wanted to check it. I think it's bullshit, so that's pretty much what I figured. Let's see here. James Adams. Wasn't he one of our former presidents? Oh, that was John Adams. I'm sorry. Bob Backlund would be very upset. I don't know my presidents. In the words of Macho Man, I'm still in a state of shock. Tetsuya Aito says, evil sucks. Food Hive. Dropping $4.99. Good to hear from him. AEW has saved wrestling, period. This show was absolutely amazing. Great job by all the wrestlers. And production all around. 9 out of 10 he gives the pay-per-view tonight. It's always good to hear from our boy Food Hive. He joins us on most of the streams that we do here. He fancies himself quite the chef. There's our Peanut Butter Vader Time super chat. There he goes. Red Ranger. Man, I am back in love with wrestling. All my favorites are back under one roof. All those Ring of Honor guys. I love it. You know what? It's true. That is true. From Danielson, even Joe. You know, Joe's Stein with NXT, but Joe and Punk and Bryan and Cole. And, I mean, you could even say Omega and the Bucks, but I'm thinking like the earlier days of Ring of Honor. It's good to see. I used to watch a lot of those guys when they had names, but not like they do now. And, you know, to see them being kind of the talk of the wrestling world right now is actually very cool. Jacob Donnelly with the $5. Best pay-per-view I have seen in years. I love pro wrestling. Mr. 9 to 5, 9 out of 10 show, he says. Red Ranger is back. My only complaint, and it's a petty fanboy one, is that I was hoping that Danielson would use the final countdown for his song, as was I. As was I. Ben Cathery, very excited for Cole and Danielson. Alvin Johnson dropped $50. No message, just showing love. Alvin, thank you. I have no idea if all these people are still up or not, but if they are, Alvin, if you hear this, thank you very much. A Gorilla. AEW blew their wad all in one night, but I'm here for it. Risens with the $27 super chat. First time donating on a live stream of yours. Between the fun matches, Punk's return, and the debuts of Ruby Soho, Adam Cole, and Bryan Danielson, tonight has revitalized my want to get back into wrestling training again. Well, that's awesome. That is very cool to hear. Risens, thank you. Avery Holmes, can you do Excalibur's Butcher and Blade comment for old times? The Butcher and the Blade. Yeah, I haven't heard him say it that way in a while. Irod 641, the most important $50 I spent on a pay-per-view in a while. I can't wait to see where AEW pops or goes from here. That tag team championship match killed it. Damn it, Dan. We're only first getting to Damn it, Dan now. He dropped $150 2 hours ago. Damn it, Dan. Holy shit. He says, I know it's late, but will Sting and CM Punk still take Darby Allin out for ice cream? Well, they could take him out for ice cream. He probably can't drink. But Punk wouldn't want to drink anyway. But I'm sure if Darby does his homework, they will take him out for ice cream. Future Endeavor, not much to donate lately, but killing it as usual. Thank you. Thank you, brother. B. Vincent 86. What a way to bring my 35th birthday in at All Out. The energy was crazy all night. So much fun. Well, happy birthday. Everybody wish B. Vincent, another one of our usual names here, wish him a very happy birthday in the chat. Happy 35 to B. Vincent. You know, I got a birthday coming. I just realized what today is. Today is September 6th. We are 1 month away from the birthday of the Solomonster. I won't tell you how old I'm going to be. I'll be 1 year older than I was last year. But I don't know what day of the week that falls on. It's probably one of the, like a Dynamite stream or something. We'll have like a birthday party here on the street. We are 1 month away from my birthday. 1 month older. God, I hate it. Where does the time go? King Soul, just to let you know, I was pooping when I sent this. All right. There you go. I hope it was a good one. And you didn't have to struggle and strain too much. You don't want to do that. You don't burst a blood vessel. You know, then you'll keel over or something. You'll have like an aneurysm, and your father will walk in or something, and your fucking pants will be around your ankles. I mean, that's a terrible way to go. So hopefully all went smoothly for you on the commode. Griffin Sabe or Sabe, that like QT Marshall. Thank you for the $10. Possibly the greatest pay-per-view ever. CM Punk pulling an HBK and being better than he had any right to be. Adam Cole's surprise, then swerve before the ride of the Valkyries hit was just perfect. Yes, Solomonster is a Libra. Did you not know this? I am a Libra. Brian Becerra with the $5. Glad I ordered the pay-per-view and it was fantastic. I almost didn't and would have been kicking myself right now, missing out on all of that. Well done, AEW. King Bling, BLA, was at Rampage on the 20th in all 3 AEW shows this week. Hell of a show. Buy or sell. Revolution 2020 or All Out 2021. Cole came out of the heel tunnel. Oh, Cole coming out of the heel tunnel ruined it. You know, I didn't even notice that. I did not even. That's a great pickup there. He did come out of the heel tunnel. We should have known. Somebody said October 6th is a Wednesday. Well, there you go. There it is. We're gonna have to turn that Dynamite stream into a birthday party. We're gonna do a birthday stream. Taryn Riddick. This was the best birthday present ever. Another birthday. Look at this. Boy, a lot of parents are getting down in, what would that have been? January? January, right? Bumping uglies in January, and then out came Tehran. Jared Simpson with the $5. We, Chicago, showed that we got money for New Japan. All they have to do is come get it. Yeah, New Japan has been struggling with the whole COVID thing. I'm sure they would love to. I really hope they get back to where they were before. New Japan is in a real down period right now, which sucks. And hopefully they will pull themselves out of it. Professor John Gotti, the good professor. Thank you, sir. $200. Ruby, 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 Soho. It is a catchy song. That is a catchy song, I will say. Let's see, Rodimus Prime dropping $20. Tonight was simply perfect. Minoru Suzuki versus anyone. I am down with that. That said, who is your dark horse in the G1 coming up? I mean, my pick for the G1 is Okada. My dark horse, I don't have the A block and the B block in front of me. I'd have to take a look at it again to refresh my memory of who's in it. But I had picked Okada as my early prediction for the G1 this year. I don't think Ibushi won it last year. I don't see that happening again. Zach Masters with the 10 spot. It was nice seeing Pentagon celebrate with his family. Great moment, yes. We'll have to wash the blood off. Joshua Carlos. What a pay-per-view. The possibilities with these debuts are incredible. Cole and Punk, Danielson and Omega, Cole and Danielson. How about Punk and Danielson? I'd love to see that again. MJF and Punk. Yes, there's another one. That's right. They got a lot of possibilities. Apparently, Brian is in the media scrum. I'm looking forward to watching that. I'm going to wait till tomorrow morning, but I'll be watching all the media stuff tomorrow. Can't wait to Can't wait to see who will end up on Talk is Jericho first. Punk or Bryan? I'm probably more interested in hearing the Bryan one. I'm kind of sick of hearing from Punk in all these media interviews. He was doing media interviews for heels like weeks ago, that show that he was on. I'm kind of punked out in all these media interviews. Let's get Bryan out there. He's been awfully quiet now for a whole bunch of months. I want to hear what he has to say. Jared Simpson. Feel like we, Chicago... Oh, here. I feel like we, Chicago, have outgrown the Now Arena. You have, yes. You know, before all the Punk stuff became a rumor back in July, I said on the podcast that I think this year is fine, but starting next year, I think they've outgrown the Now Arena. They have to do the United Center. I had no idea they would be running the United Center this summer. So, yes, 100%. They could have done it in the United Center tonight and sold the building out. They could have had 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people more than they did. So, absolutely. They have outgrown that building. I can understand going back there from time to time for old time's sake, but they need to run the United Center more often. Brian Spies, Danielson and Punk against Chaos Project, ASAP. Hulkling 93, the $20. Some of the previous pay-per-views left me with buyer's remorse, but this was a very solid and enjoyable show. Always great to see Suzuki. Only quibble, I felt the Bucks should have gotten a beating like Triple H did against Foley at the Royal Rumble in 2000. Interesting. Misty Cat. What's going on, Misty Cat? Adam Cole is here to stir things up and dismantle the Elite from the inside. So you think he is only temporarily a heel? Could be. Could be. Or they could just as easily do an episode of being the Elite and they'll just find some funny way to explain it all away and that'll be the end of it. So I tend to think that he's going to be a heel for a while. Unless he is playing the long game and he is going to turn on them in the end. He's been plotting this for years. That would be an interesting story. Rooster loving man. Nothing wrong with that. Roosters need love just like dogs and cats and everything else out there. If Rooster loving man, if he loves the cocks, then so be it. Easily the best show of the year and best AEW show ever. AEW doing a great job building a who's who or who's gonna show up next atmosphere, but could be dangerous. Could be dangerous in what way? It could be dangerous if they overload the roster with too many people. I don't know if that's what you mean by that. Frankie Blyce dropping $50. Holy shit, Frankie. Thank you. I don't think Frankie has done that before. One of the best wrestling pay-per-views that I have ever seen, period. You and I are in agreement. You know, I've said that the most fun I ever had watching a wrestling pay-per-view was actually ECW One Night Stand, the first one. It was an ECW show produced by WWE. It's just the weirdest fucking thing. That was the most fun I ever had watching a pay-per-view. And tonight came pretty close to that. I mean, it was comparable. So it's in that category, I think. Cigar Pat with the $10. Sunday was the 4th anniversary of my brother Cody's passing in a motorcycle accident. It was a rough day, but now I am relaxing with a cigar and the Solomonster. Well, Pat, I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible. But I'm glad that I can keep you company here on the stream. I'm glad that you're joining, and I'm glad that you're smoking a stogie. I would smoke. I don't smoke, but I would smoke one if I had one. So. I actually did have one. One of my friends had a kid months ago, and I might still have a cigar laying around somewhere. But anyway, Pat, thank you. That means a lot. Demonte, 24. One of the best pay-per-views I have ever watched from start to finish. Adam Cole, Bay, and DB was a hell of a closing to an A+ show. Keep being the best solo. I'm trying, man. I'm doing everything I can, the best I can. Ian Noel Camelot, Chicago Screamer here. Did not get tickets to the show, but watched it on pay-per-view, and one of the best pay-per-views that I have ever seen. So much fun. Gavin Death. A round of applause for Tony Khan's coke dealer. Yeah, really. Whoever is supplying Tony Khan, keep doing what you're doing, because it's working out pretty good. Whoa. Oh. 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 I bit my tongue. Ah. JM. Holy fucking shit. Look at this. $300 super chat from JM. I'm going to read yours now. I'm not going to make you wait. Solomonster sounds off, he says. #1 wrestling podcast, including those hosted by wrestlers in my book. You are the tower of power, too sweet to be sour, funky like a monkey, sky's the limit, and space is the place. Ooh, yeah. Appreciate the great work, brother. Dig it? Oh, I dig it. Oh, I dig it. Hey, JM. Holy shit, dude. Thank you. That's amazing. At 2 o'clock in the morning, he just dropped $300 on this stream. Holy fucking shit. You guys are insane tonight. I think you guys are also working with Tony Khan's coke dealer. Something's in the water here. Something's going on. See, it's what I mean, what I talked about before. I love it when we have a great wrestling show. Everybody benefits. Everybody does well. Everybody's having a good time. Steak dinner tomorrow. Actually, it's a holiday this week. Going to be hanging out with family tonight. If I get some sleep, I'm going to be doing some driving, so that could be dangerous. If I don't get a lot of sleep tonight, I'm going to be on the road tomorrow. I'm going to have to roll the windows down and crank up the music. Dallas Caballero. This pay-per-view will be remembered for years. That was my favorite tag team match ever. So happy for Adam Cole, CM Punk, and Bryan freaking Danielson. You know what? CM Punk floated an interesting idea on the Oral Sessions podcast with Renee Young. He said, you know, I would love if Bryan Danielson came in, and I would love to work a tag team match. Punk and Danielson against the Young Bucks. Now that's a match I'd like to see. As great as that tag team match tonight was, imagine Punk and Bryan Danielson against the Young Bucks in like a big pay-per-view tag team match. That's what I mean. The possibilities are endless for all of these different match combinations that we could get. It's exciting. It really is. It's exciting to put together these sort of fantasy cards and fantasy book and try to figure out, you know, what matches that you want to see. T-Mac 034 for 10 years. My biggest wrestling regret was not flying to Money in the Bank 2011. Flying or not flying to All Out 2021 is now my new biggest regret. Yeah. You know, you look out in that crowd and it's one of those shows you wish you were there. And I could have been there, but I just couldn't make it. So I hope everybody in that building tonight appreciated it, because they're going to have a whole lot of wrestling memories thinking back to this show. Joshua Carlos. What's going on, Joshua? This was a great pay-per-view, but where does Hangman land in all of this? Personally think he should still win the title against Omega, ending his reign. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Hangman Page absolutely should win the championship and be the one to dethrone Kenny Omega. Right now, everyone... Oh, look who's on the screen. Speak of the devil. There he is. There's Murder Grandpa himself. Suzuki chat. I will murder. Perfect timing. Look, Hangman should still be on course to win the title. Right now, everyone's talking about Cole and Bryan and Punk. Hangman, keep him off TV for a while. Let the buzz die down a little bit. Supposedly he's home, he's having a kid, or he just had a kid. Fine. Next month, November, whenever he's ready to come back, he'll get a huge reaction, and you put the spotlight back on him. Bringing these names in should not cause them to deviate from their plan. That would be very bad. That would be the downside of bringing in these big names from WWE. If it derails Hangman's quest for the championship, and I don't think it will, that would be a huge negative. I don't think Tony Khan is going to allow that to happen. I believe that Hangman will be the one to take that title from Omega. As he should be. Stephen Freeze with the $10, or Stephen Fees. I'm sorry, Stephen Fees. My wife asked me how I liked the show, and I said that it was the best I ever saw. She didn't believe me until she heard you say the same. I have never been this excited to watch a TV show. I like that she trusts me more than she trusts you. I like her. I like her. She's a smart lady. You tell her I said that. Quintus Brown, I hope that all of this doesn't change the Adam Page plans. I agree. Terrence Toussaint, after working a 19-hour shift, holy shit. He works 6 a.m. to 1 a.m. That should be illegal. I don't know where you work, but that should be illegal. They should not be allowed to do that. So he worked a 19-hour shift yesterday. He says, I'm glad I was able to stay up to watch this. What a show. Terrence, I think you need to find a new job, buddy. That is inhuman. Hey, Jason Carter, thank you for the sub. I toast you with my trusty mug here. EJ Slemp, when Cody comes back, does he get involved with the Elite and some of the new guys, or does he stay on the mid-card like he was before the Black Feud? Yeah, there's no need to shoehorn Cody in there when he first comes back. He doesn't have to be in the main event picture. He can, I mean, most likely he'll go right back to feuding with Black. I'd have Black beat him again. I would not have Cody come back and beat Malachi Black. I'd have him come back and lose again. You want to get Malachi Black over even bigger? Have him beat Cody twice. Convince people the first time wasn't a fluke. I think Cody is more concerned, though, about his reality shows and his future run for governor somewhere. He's going into politics. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. Cody has bigger plans in his future. Cody thinks he's The Rock. He's aspiring for bigger and better things. Mackenzie Lambert. Actually, daily NASCAR rant. I'm going to Cincinnati on Wednesday, and what a show to see my first Dynamite. Oh, man, you picked a good one. Mackenzie Lambert. Lucha Bros win. Ruby, Punk in ring return. Cole Danielson. I'm officially in love with professional wrestling again. Jake Finn. You think they are going to change Bryan Danielson's music? Yeah, I was wondering that. Maybe if this was a temporary thing, maybe this won't be his permanent music. I would be curious if anybody asked him in the media scrum about his music, and maybe they tried and couldn't get the rights to the music. I don't know. I just think it would have been more epic for him to come out to the other music. Craig Brown, tonight we saw the Solomonster in rare form as 3 different people. The GOAT, the cool guy, and the podcaster. That's right. That's right. My doppelgangers were on this show. Orange Cassidy and Bryan Danielson, who I have been compared to many, many, many times, even though I have shaved. And I do not have any stubble. I do not have a goat-like beard. I don't see it, but apparently everybody else does. I used to be called Baby Dragon. When I would go to the Ring of Honor shows, some of the guys that were ripping the tickets at the door, they would always, oh, look, it's Baby Dragon. Like, fuck you. Like, but yeah. Michael Santinello. Pat McAfee's #1 rival jumped ship. That's right. Adam Cole no longer has to worry about Pat McAfee. Skyline. Luger on WCW Nitro vibes. It does kind of give you that vibe, doesn't it? KT, thank you for the $9.99, man. I appreciate it. Will Robb with the 20. Greetings, Solomonster. I must say this was by far one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in years. AEW surpassed any and all expectations. Tonight proved what we've known already. AEW is definitely competition. AEW is always competition. And if WWE, if anybody from WWE ever publicly said that it wasn't, then they were fucking lying. And they're still lying. And they know they're lying. They pull from the exact same talent pool. They are absolutely competition. Sir Huggingtons, do you think AEW has changed focus and some of the older original indies will have contracts not renewed to make room for more young talent building? Do I think they have changed focus? I don't know what you mean. Some of the older original indies will have contracts not renewed. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you know, at some point, and here's the downside of all this. However much money Tony Khan is worth, however many billions are in his family, the flip side to all of this is that at some point, let me turn the music off here for a second, then we'll bring it back. But I think the downside is you can sign all these people, right? But at some point, you've got to clear room on your roster. So there are going to be people who are either not going to be renewed, or at some point, Tony Khan is going to have to start letting people go. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope it doesn't happen for a while. But it's inevitable that it will happen. And hopefully it's not a case where it's like with WWE, they have these just mass cuts of 12, 20, 30 people at once. But you can only sign so many people before you got to clear room, and you know, some people are going to end up having to go. Who those people are? Is it people like Luther and Serpentico, or is it going to be some bigger names? I don't know. But there's going to be a flip side to all of this. KT, thank you for the $4.99. Hey, the cheeseburger. And Nick Hadlick just subscribed. What's going on, Nick? The cheeseburger 666. Logan Paul found something dead and took a selfie with it. It's called WWE. Oh. That's like a Paul Heyman-esque super chat. Great AEW pay-per-view, not going to lie. I was crying when the Lucha Bros won the tag team titles. Well earned. Thank you, Cheeseburger. Logan Paul found something dead and took a selfie with it. It's called WWE. Wow. That is the sickest burn of the night. That was a good one. And yes, Logan Paul is still a dick. Ryan Spies. The ghost of Adam Cole was so fat. It's an old joke from his PWG days. Was so fat that Jungle Boy still sold his super kick. Carlos Naftali. I noticed he wore red trunks with his initials on the back like Ric Flair. Dead giveaway he was losing. Nice touch. Dried chicken without flavor. What a pay-per-view. Thank you, Tony Khan. No question about it. This is the best pay-per-view in AEW history. We have finally reached the 1 hour behind Super Chats. We're making progress here. It's like clearing brush. But I have promised to read everything that you guys send me here. It's the least I can do. Dried chicken without flavor. I knew it. Ruby Soho was going to draw the Joker card. Britt Baker and Ruby at Grand Slam. Fingers crossed. ST8 Markin. Just got back from the show. Can't believe CM Punk had his first match in 7 years in the same arena that I graduated high school. Love your work, Solomonster. Well, that's very cool that you were able to be there. Based Salvi in the chat says Logan Paul is actually a better person now. I hope he is, because that was a very shitty thing that he did. I will take your word for it, and hopefully he is a better human than he was back then. We all can change, right? He gets a lot of heel heat when he's on TV. I will say that. He gets more heel heat than most people who work full-time in that company. Magician Sapphire. People are saying Riho never got eliminated from the Battle Royal because she slid underneath the bottom rope. Yeah, there was some kind of botch. Again, she was in and out so quickly, and it's too bad. But whatever it was definitely a botch spot there. Dried chicken. Tony Schiavone has multiple beefs with MJF, Don Callis, and QT Marshall. It's a great thing Schiavone doesn't take shit from anyone. No, he does not. KT, thank you for the $4.99. Appreciate it. It's Sam, 94. Soon Triple H will be all elite. That's right. Paul Levesque is all elite. He'll have to have a match with Cody for the right to that throne. Remember with the throne that Cody took the sledgehammer to? Oh my God, Triple H against Cody. Jesus. Oh my goodness. I don't know about that one. Who we got here? King Konachek. Thank you for the sub. Welcome to the channel. Fried chicken without flavor. I wish I could stay longer, but I have to go to bed now. Good night, Solomonster, and everyone in the chat. Keep up the great work. Well, Dried Chicken, I thank you for joining us tonight. I will see you, I'm sure, on Wednesday. J Retro, would Bryan have received a bigger pop with Final Countdown, or was Flight of the Valkyries a good choice? Flight of the Valkyries was a good choice for those who only really know him from WWE. The people who don't know him from the past wouldn't necessarily recognize Final Countdown, but I know the majority of the people in that building would have, as soon as Final Countdown would have hit, they would have instantly known who it was for. So, me personally, I think Final Countdown would have been more of an epic song to use. It's got to be a reason why they didn't use it. DiLorenzo, I hate living in Australia, missing the biggest AEW pay-per-view because I had work. I hope you guys enjoyed. Well, DiLorenzo, you got to go back and watch it, man. Trust me, it's worth it. Manny, with all these recent debuts, do you think Hangman Page will still beat Omega for the title? Yes. Quintus Brown, Cole said on the AEW media scrum that he would want to face Jungle Boy first. Bring it on. Adam Cole and Jungle Boy, I'd love to see it. Joseph Brooks, do you think the main event got put in a bad spot just like Triple H at WrestleMania 18 and 25? It did, more so just because of how late the show went, I think. So I would say, yeah. They were put in a tough spot. Merlot Williams, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, Ruby Soho, and Minoru Suzuki. If Shinsuke Nakamura jumped ship, I would have literally no reason to follow WWE anymore. I could have sworn I heard like Nakamura re-signed with them not too long ago, so I don't think Nakamura is going anywhere. Actually, Nakamura has no reason to go anywhere. He's the Intercontinental Champion. He's got Rick Boogs. He's getting this renewed push all of a sudden on SmackDown. Maybe he is getting his renewed push because his contract was coming due. I don't know. But of all the people on WWE television who, you know, have a reason to want to leave, I don't believe he's one of them. Marcus, the Entertainer, with the Full Gear pay-per-view moving dates, I see the arena booked has an event planned for that night. Will AEW move to a bigger building? That's what I was wondering. And if that's the case, then they're obviously going to move. The question is, are they still going to be in St. Louis, or are they going to move to a different city and give St. Louis a makeup date at some other point? That I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Nightmare Knee, Suzuki, Danielson, Punk, Miro, and Moxley. I am complete. And let's not forget Ruby, super complete. Oh, he's super complete. Should we be worried about this? Is this like the Infinity... the ring from the Avengers. Rizzo, WWE obviously doesn't care anymore. I can't think of any other reason why they let all that talent go. Well, because they have a very odd eye for talent. I think their eye has cataract in it. They don't always see clearly through. It's a little cloudy. Boots, do you think Samoa Joe will get refired? I wouldn't mind to see him in AEW, even though the roster is stacked. Refired? I certainly would hope not. That would be very embarrassing. And they're using him in other ways. They're using him for recruiting and stuff. So no, Samoa Joe is not going to be refired. Thank you, Stellar Steven. Yes, the Infinity Gauntlet. That's what I was trying to think of. But it's 2:30 in the morning, so all my pop culture references are not fresh in my mind. Powerful. Oh, Loop Cannon in the chat says Ruby's song kind of sucks. I don't think it sucks. You know what song I actually don't like? I don't really think it's a very good or catchy theme song. I'm not a fan of Orange Cassidy's theme song. That's just me. Powerful One. Bucks versus Omega Hangman and Bucks versus Lucha Bros. Two of the greatest tag team matches in a very long time. What is the common denominator? Gee, I wonder. Mr. Hall of Fame dropping $50. I'm calling in. We need to network. Mr. Hall of Fame, thank you, sir, for the 50. That is much appreciated. He is probably fast asleep by now, but he'll hear this later on, I'm sure. Quintus Brown. Bryan said in the AEW media scrum that Vince made him a generous offer and they were going to let him do things outside WWE. Wow. And he still chose AEW. That is very interesting. So they were willing. Wow. They were willing to allow him to do things outside the company and he still left. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? He wanted out. He wanted out of that company, and he wanted the freedom to go and work with whoever he wanted. He didn't want to have to ask permission. He wanted out. It's like breaking out of a jail. He wanted out. That really speaks volumes right there. And Bryan had a great career in WWE. Through all obstacles, against all odds, he ended up headlining WrestleMania. He was a world champion. He met his wife there, just like Punk. Punk met his wife in WWE as well. Punk had a very, obviously, rocky ending there, and they fired him on his wedding day, and he almost fucking died. Very different than Bryan. They treated Bryan well, I think, for the most part. And he still chose to leave. What does that tell you? And how many other people are like him in the company right now? There were different WWE and NXT people who were tweeting about the show. I saw Tegan Nox was tweeting about Ruby and stuff. How many of them do you think were sending DMs like, hey, you got some room for me? I guarantee you there were a few people like that. If you're on the WWE or the NXT roster, especially if you're somebody they're not really doing anything with right now, and you watch a show like this tonight, how do you not get jealous of watching these guys make these big debuts and not want to leave? I'm sure there were a lot of DMs going around, a lot of private text messages being sent. Lone Wolf was there live. I got video of Bryan doing an epic promo for the crowd and of him asking my son if he had fun. I will tag you when I get home. Yeah, please do. I want to see that. That's awesome. Joseph Brooks, are you going to do a Survivor Series top 10? I don't remember if I did. I think I might have already done one, unless I'm thinking of SummerSlam. I would consider it if you maybe shoot me an email and remind me. I would definitely consider it, but I'm not 100% sure if I haven't already done one at some point. It's been a while since I've done those countdowns. I'm sure I'll do another one soon. Just got to come up with topics, though. What am I doing a countdown for exactly? I don't know. I'm open to suggestions, though. You could tweet me. You could email me. This show is your show. I do this for you. I don't do this for my own personal amusement. This is a very interactive show. So your ideas, whether I use them or not, is a different story, but your ideas and suggestions are always welcome. Slam Newton. Just subscribe to the channel. Thomas Scott. WWE having no stars is killing them right now. Yes, they have Roman and Becky, and that is it. Well, didn't you know they have Goldberg? Goldberg is coming for Bobby Lashley's soul. Steven Gonzalez, first time I've ever seen Kenny Omega botch a move in the 5 years I've been seeing him perform. Glad to know that he is human. Chambly Games, awesome show. This is the first AEW pay-per-view I purchased, and it was worth the $50. The cage match was a classic. Happy to be a wrestling fan. King Bling. Blank versus blank. All night long match on Rampage. Are you interested? Blank versus blank? Well, I mean, I guess it depends who you put in there. I like the all night long match they did on Lucha Underground with Rey Mysterio and Johnny Mundo. You get the right two people. You have an Iron Man match for the entire length of Rampage. If it's with the right people, I'm down for it. I liked it when Lucha Underground did it, but you got to have the right people in it. And AEW has a lot of people that they could put in a match like that. And in fact, one of them just debuted on television tonight. And he was in the WrestleMania main event this year. HBK C380... Rewind. HBK C83 has a good weekend with the Mets. Lil's 7-game win streak and ending it with this pay-per-view. Yeah. How about that, right? Yeah, it's been a good weekend. That's right. Good weekend for the Mets, which is rare. Good weekend with this pay-per-view. Devil Kid 631. Damn, should have known Cole was going to turn heel. He walked out of the heel tunnel. Yeah, I'm kicking myself for not noticing that. EJ Slamp, does Jay Wight show up at Arthur Ashe? I'd love to see Jay Wight pop up. I don't know about Arthur Ashe. But Will Ospreay is hanging around the States. I'm just saying. We might see Will Ospreay pop up on AEW television one of these weeks. Based Salvi. As a kid from Cincinnati, the fact that Minoru Suzuki is going to step on Reds soil for a match against Jon Moxley and I'm going to watch that war live, it makes me cry tears of joy. That's awesome. Salvi, have fun, man. I'm jealous. Look at Sting. Just hanging out. See, that's the look of a man who enjoyed this pay-per-view tonight. Hanging out on the couch. Harry Todd. With all the debuts, when do you think AEW will have to stop buying ex-WWE talent like Wyatt, Strowman, etc.? I don't think Wyatt or Strowman are coming in, or Buddy Murphy. I think most or all of them are headed for Impact. And if they go to Impact, Impact has a working relationship with AEW, so they may end up on Dynamite at some point anyway, and Tony Khan doesn't have to pay him. There's the workaround right there. But I don't see them going to AEW. Pedro Velasquez, we need AEW to succeed. Solomonster. I still don't understand why some WWE fans on Twitter want AEW to fail. WWE is not the same anymore. Take care. Look, you don't have to be an AEW fan. But if you are someone who is willing the demise and hoping for the demise of AEW, then you're a fucking moron. And I would say the same thing if you were hoping for the demise of Ring of Honor or Impact or even WWE. You are a fucking idiot. That would be the worst thing that could happen in wrestling. And anybody who wishes for it is not a real fan. They're a troll and a dumb shit. And I would not take anything they say seriously. They're trying to get a rise out of you. They're trying to get a reaction. They probably don't even honestly believe it. Doesn't make any sense to wish for any of these companies to fail and go under. Shiftmo. Love this pay-per-view. Women's title match over delivered and so happy to see CM Punk back. EJ, which Talk is Jericho interview are you looking forward to more? Danielson, as I said before. Vash, TS 1984. I squealed with glee when Cole and Bryan in the ring. Just the possibility of a match between those two. Chef's kiss. Also, Murder Grandpa, I am happy. Paul Heyman in the chat says Disco Inferno was crapping on Cole and Bryan. Disco Inferno, anybody who takes Disco Inferno's opinion as having any value whatsoever, you're a moron. I mean, seriously, Disco Inferno. Need I say more? Fontes Revenge. What did you think about CM Punk's gear? I thought it was fine. I don't really obsess over people's gear too much. I thought it was a good look for him. Kind of like Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley used to come out years ago in trunks, and then he started wearing the long tights, and it's like, now it's just like normal to see him come out in that gear. I think we'll get used to seeing Punk in the same gear. It's not, I don't really see it as being that big of a deal. Powerful one. Giants beat the Dodgers to reclaim first place in the best wrestling pay-per-view I've seen in a very long time. Today was a great day. Clag Daddy. Awesome show. It looked like the leg of the table broke through the timber top and dug into Christian's side on that spear. That was brutal. Yeah, that did not look fun. King Bling, buy or sell, better pay-per-view, WrestleMania 17 or All Out 2021? Ah, you put me on the spot here. Yeah, you put me on the spot, man. You put me on the spot, man. I enjoyed both of them. How's that for an answer? This show is too fresh in my mind to give you a real answer. It's almost unfair, right? Because we're all excited and happy overall, I think, with the show tonight. I can't vote against WrestleMania 17, but maybe in a few weeks, with some time to kind of let everything settle, maybe my mind would change. I'm not ready to put this over that WrestleMania, though. Russell Sagi, AEW hit a home run. I hope they don't leave on the surprise debuts forever. ECW had to, but AEW does not. Thoughts? They can keep everyone. I don't think they can keep everyone. Like I said, at some point, someone's going to have to go. But hopefully that won't be for a very long time. And I agree with you on your first point. Dr. NXT Scorpio, if I can be serious for a minute, I want to say that All Out was a great show. And I enjoyed it. I cannot wait for Dynamite and the G1. And then there is Raw. Great review. And good night, folks. Boots. AEW needs to improve on how they present their Battle Royal matches. Why not do picture-in-picture when the entrants are coming out? I thought you were going to say, why not go to picture-in-picture? I was like, that would be a fucking terrible idea. That's not a bad idea. Let's get some music back on here. Took it off for a while. Get our Muzak back. Yeah, but no, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Boots. Oh, that was Boots. Thank you, Boots. Matthew. Yeah, Shiesty B. Shiesty B, did I miss the review? Dude, where have you been? It's 2:40 in the morning. What do you think? You think I've just been hanging around shooting the shit for 2.5 hours? You missed the entire review, but guess what? You're in luck, because this entire review is going to be archived on the channel after. And you guys would be doing a huge favor to me, by the way, if you would hit that thumbs up if you have not already done so. It helps with the recommendations on YouTube. So it actually does matter. It does make a difference when you hit thumbs up on these videos. So if you would be so kind, that would be awesome. And that would help out the stream quite a bit. But anyway, Matthew says, just by coincidence, it's Monday morning here. Glory by Honor 5 Night 2 turns 15 today. Gotta seek it out. Incredible show tonight. It was a fantastic show. Matthew. And then we go to Jared Jackson. WWE hates their own fans, and then this happens. I think they hate some of their talent, too. Gregory Mendez. Solomonster, first super chat. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you for your hard work. I'm going to miss this week in wrestling history. Keep it up. Tag team match was the best match on the show and legit made me emotional. Yeah, for everybody who has been enjoying this week in wrestling history, the final installment dropped today on episode 720 of The Sound Off. I'll be putting those clips up on the channel tomorrow, so watch for them. We'll still talk history on the show, but yeah, we hit the 1 year mark. So I'm not going to start repeating the same events over and over again. So 1 full year. I can't believe it's been a year already. I've enjoyed doing the segment. It's been a lot of hard work and a lot of time, but I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I did putting it together. Jonathan Corky, AEW going to need a brand split soon. No brand splits. Carl Farnham. Just got back from the arena. Easily the best show I've ever been to. Sorry to the Queens crowd for taking all of your surprises. You know what? You took all the surprises away from New York. Who do we have left now? Who is left? Who is left for New York now in a few weeks? Because I don't think Bray is coming in. I don't think he needs to. Strowman, keep him away. Murphy, I don't think is coming in. I mean, who else is there? You've left us with no one. You've left the Brooklyn Brawler might show up. That's about it. King Bling, buy or sell? Revolution 2020 or All Out 2021? I gotta go All Out. Zach Reyna, Mansoor, looking like the love child of Rollins. And Ali is all elite. Great pay-per-view, and I can't wait until Wednesday. Powerful one. If AEW keeps growing and ascending the way they have, could you see All Out being hosted in a stadium like Wrigley or Soldier Field 5 years from now? 5 years is a very long time. Do I think AEW can run a stadium show in the next 18 months? 2 years? Yeah, I do. Yes. And it's not going to take 5 years either. I think they could do it as early as next year. That's what I think. Stellar Steven, Minoru Suzuki is Ichiban. Arrival, Kaze Ninare. Indeed. JM. Again, that $300 bomb came in about half an hour ago, and I'm still all amped up about it, man. You are out of your mind. But I appreciate that kind of support right there, man. I can't put into words what that means. It's not even just the money. It's just the fact that somebody would feel compelled enough. And everybody tonight, look at all these super chats, right? That everybody, after paying $50, and I know some of you didn't, but $50 for a pay-per-view and then coming on by the stream and, you know, dropping money on the stream and showing some love. We just had the biggest August. August was the biggest month in the history of the show, in the history of the channel. And I figured, okay, September's going to be a come-down month now, right? Like, hopefully we'll still have a really good month, but there's no way we could top what we did in August. I'm not so sure now. We picked up a lot of channel members and new subs. You guys are making it happen. We're only 6 days, not even a full 6 days into the month. But we still have Arthur Ashe in a few weeks, and then Extreme Rules. So it means the world to me to see that kind of support. It really does. But I read Jay's super chat earlier, so we'll go to Matthew. Update. Messed the date up on Glory by Honor. Close enough. Where do you see MJF and Jericho going from here? You know, MJF, he lost, but obviously he's going to move on to something else now. I have no idea. I honestly don't know. I haven't even thought who he might be programmed with next. I think we're gonna have to wait and see where the new guys settle. Is it going to be Punk? Could we go straight to Punk and MJF? Because that's a verbal joust I would love to see. Or is it too soon? I don't know that it is. Although MJF is coming off a loss. So I think to kind of get back on his feet, he needs somebody he can beat. But my mind is just spinning all around right now. I need some time to process all of this, and then we can think of who goes where the pieces of the puzzle fall. Or Whizzle 24, you are the GOAT of podcasters. Huge appreciation for you. Been listening since the summer of 2015. Or Whizzle, thank you very much. Long-time listener, right? That's 6 years. 6 years of the Sound Off. You know what we're celebrating in November? Month after my birthday. You know what we're doing in November? We're doing the 14th anniversary of the Sound Off. 14 years I've been doing this show. So we're going to have another stream and another celebration. Maybe we'll do a whole inbox like we did last year, live inbox. We'll do something special. 14 years of this podcast. 14 years of my life. And I'm only 17. That's like the majority of my life. Come on, man. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Kieran Buckley. All Out turned out to be very eventful. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Gyro Splater. I was there live. It was like One Night Stand, Money in the Bank 2011, and All In combined into one show. Totally unreal. Peter Pan Parker. How would you act if you heard Get Ready to Fly instead of Adam Cole's music? I would have been very shocked. I would have been exceptionally shocked if we heard that. Nightmare Knee. That was hilarious. I actually have a Thanos shirt on. Yes, but do you have the gauntlet on? William Long dropping 10. Show of the year, I think Punk and Bryan against the Bucks. Bryan versus Cole. Bryan versus Pac. Punk against Moxley are all matches I need to see ASAP. Any thoughts or hopes for Punk's next feud? Hope for MJF. Yeah, we were just talking about that. I think MJF is a great candidate. I think eventually you got to get to Malachi Black. It's too soon for that. But think of Malachi Black and Andrade. It's like they're old news at this point. But Malachi Black and Andrade against any of these guys. Punk and Bryan. I mean, the possibilities are endless. P. Alberto Sanchez. There wasn't even a chance to have a second Monday Night War. It is already over. Paul Heyman. Is Adam Cole a better heel or a better Bay face? Even at 3 a.m. You got to get one in there. Thank you, Paul Heyman. Heel, by the way. The answer is heel. Hugh Jazz. Adam Cole is a spy for Hangman Page. Mr. Movie Mashup in the chat says Don West is doing better. I just talked about Don West a little while ago. I mentioned his tweet. He is in remission. For those of you who missed it, he was undergoing treatment for cancer, and he is in remission. He is doing better, and that is fantastic news. Austin Runge, $5 super chat. Top 5 Disco Inferno matches. Well, I'll list them for you right here. Starting with number 5, I would say well, number 4 would be number 3. I'll have to get back to you on that. We'll circle back to that. HBKC83. When would you do the title match between Ruby and Britt? And would you still give Anna Jay her match against Britt? Yeah, I think Anna Jay and Britt could be a match. You know, I think doing Ruby and Britt Baker at the Grand Slam show. You know, she's not going to win the championship, but why not? Why not do the match there? Maybe somebody gets involved, and that could be Ruby's next feud. We're going to have to come up with some big matches for the Grand Slam in a few weeks. Gregory Mendez, after All Out, now considering a trip to Full Gear in November. Do you plan... Oh, hang on a second here. Hang on. There you go. Goodbye. Do you plan on attending any shows in the future? What would sell you on going? I don't know. I mean, I don't have any plans right now on going to any shows in the near future. I just don't have it in the plans. I think when the time is right and there's a show that compels me. You know, part of it also is I like being here so I could go live immediately after the show. I'll get back to going to shows again. I just don't, I don't know when. Hey, Sabian, thank you, man. Have a good night. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know when the next show will be that I'll be at. But we got Survivor Series coming to New York in November. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead yet, but I don't have any plans of going to any shows just yet. Let's see here. Who do we have? Quintus Brown. I hope that Cole and Bryan's first matches in AEW happens in Queens since Chicago got all of the surprises. Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? That would be a nice way to reward New York. We didn't get the debuts, but we can get their first matches. Skywalker. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be Punk's first match. Punk just had his first match. Talking about Bryan and Cole. Skywalker, did you quit your day job for YouTube? No, not yet. Not yet. We're getting there. And finally, We have reached the final super chat. It looks like Russell is going to have the last word. AEW can't keep everyone. Cole should join Hangman. A great story could be told between him and the Elite after the ROH stuff. Am I wrong? Yeah, absolutely. If they want to do that, they certainly can. If they want to play off of the being the Elite stuff. Or they could just play it off as just a joke. And just keep it to being the Elite. I don't know if he's a mole. I don't know if he's going to end up turning on them or not. I think he's a heel for now and for the foreseeable future. But could they do it? Yeah, of course. The possibilities are endless. They could do anything they want. That's the beauty of it. So we have reached the end, I do believe. All right. Man, that was the longest super chat read on any stream that I have ever done. But I like it. I like it. As I said, I told you I would read every single one that you guys sent in, and there we go. We're all caught up. Where are the poll results? 3,600 votes on Twitter. 95.6% thumbs up. In the live chat, we got 3,300 votes. 96 up, 4 down. So between the two polls so far, we have in excess of 7,000 votes. That is unheard of. That is insane. Over 7,000 votes. And I'm sure when I wake up in a few hours, it'll be even more. It'll be over 8. That's crazy. Hey, we got Abdul Rahman. He wants to have the last word. He's like, fuck this Russell guy. I'm going to have the last word. He says, does AEW need a second 2-hour show? And thanks for the stream. I don't think so. I think I like the 1-hour format for Rampage. I think it's, for now, I think it's perfect. So no, I don't see a need for that just yet. Jake didn't have a message. He just wanted to drop some super chat love. So Jay, thank you for that, man. Or Jake from State Farm. Thank you. So we got what Bearwolf in the chat says we're up to what, 1,700 likes. Is that true? Yeah, we are over 17. We still have over 2,200 people with us. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. We're 5 minutes away from 3 a.m. here on the East Coast. This is incredible. And we've picked up a bunch of new channel members as well. I love to see that. Again, if you want to join and become a channel member, or if you're thinking about it, we have 2 different tiers. Under this video, you should see a join button. Just click that button. And you'll see a video pop up with me in it. And I'll explain everything. And you can join the channel. You get some perks. You get some bonus content. Every few weeks, I try to record a video Q&A, answering your questions just for members only. That's for all tiers, not just one. And I'm always trying to think of new things for you guys. So... all right, I think we're all wrapped up here, finally. This has been an amazing stream, honestly. This has been our biggest night probably ever. This was incredible, and it's nice coming off a show like the one we had tonight. Fun show, genuine surprises, left you wanting more, some great matches, one of the greatest tag team matches I've ever seen. And can't all be like this. But boy, it's fun to try, right? And they've got quite a talented crew at AEW right now. The question is, how do they utilize that crew? How are they going to use all of this new talent that they have? Well, we're about to find out. That's the fun part, right? We're going to see what Tony Khan has up his sleeve, if there's any more surprises. Steve Heredia just dropped $5. What are we drinking, Mr. Monster? Right now, we're just drinking water. I know it's uneventful, but right now we're keeping it to water. I knew we'd be going late tonight, so I didn't want to go too crazy. I got to drive tomorrow, so. Kearney Smith just subscribed. What's going on, my friend? Welcome to the channel. So I'm going to be back with you live on Wednesday. Right back here, doing this all over again, live. Reading your super chats, going over the show, doing everything we normally do. We're going to talk... Bigness88YTPS4. That's a long name, but he just subbed, so thank you. But I am excited for Jon Moxley and Minoru Suzuki on Wednesday. That's going to be a fun show to review. I cannot wait for that. And then come on back again. I'm going to be live on Friday night for the Rampage review at 11 p.m. Eastern. Pac and Andrade El Idolo. They get to have their makeup match on Friday. If you missed it, there is a full 2.5-hour podcast, episode 720 of the Sound Off that went up earlier, technically yesterday. So please, if you missed it, go ahead, iTunes, or I guess Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Google Podcasts. We're all over the place. Go check out the show. And I'm all out, guys. Like the pay-per-view. I am all out. Stay live until Raw? Are you trying to kill me? You want me to stay live until Monday Night Raw? You're trying to push me over the edge here? I don't want to keep you guys any longer. You guys probably want to get to bed too. Tamara, by the way, thank you for all your help tonight. Tamara is one of our mods. Show some love for her on your way out. She has been great. All right, guys. I think I've plugged everything I need to plug, right? Gonna plug myself into bed here in a little bit. Actually, I still have to do some editing. John Nelson just subscribed. Welcome to the channel, John. Welcome to the Funhouse. What time is it? It is officially 3 o'clock in the morning. So that is my cue to get out of here. Be well. Stay safe. Check out episode 720. And I hope you all enjoyed not just this stream, but the pay-per-view tonight. This was an incredible night all around. And I look forward to spending time with you coming up on Wednesday night. We'll do it all over again for Dynamite. Until then, take care, guys.